There is a language the universe speaks, a language older than words, older than thought itself. It is the language of synchronicity, of resonance, of signs. It is not shouted from the mountaintops, but whispered in the quietest chambers of your own awareness. Have you ever felt it? A deep, persistent longing for something more, a feeling that there is a map to your life, if only you knew how to read it. You have searched for this map in the noise of the world, in the accumulation of things, in the achievements, in the validation of others. You have sought answers in books and from gurus, hoping someone else held the key. Yet, the map remains elusive, and the feeling of being slightly off course, of missing something vital, persists. The great secret is this: the signs are not hidden from you. You are hidden from the signs. You are concealed from life's guidance by a storm of your own making, the perpetual storm of the restless, analytical mind. This voice in your head, the one that never stops narrating, judging, worrying, and remembering, has become so loud that it drowns out everything else. It drowns out the subtle, the intuitive, the sacred. This journey, this time we share together, is about calming that storm. It is not about adding more information or learning a new technique. It is an act of subtraction, of letting go. It is a journey inward, to find the source of the noise and to discover the vast, profound silence that lies beneath it. It is about learning to be still, so that for the first time, you can truly hear. This is an invitation to step out of the river of chaotic thought and onto the serene bank of pure awareness. From here, and only from here, can you see the patterns. From here, you can finally read the language that has been speaking to you all along. Before we can hear the whispers of the universe, before the signs can reveal themselves to us, we must first do something that sounds simple, yet proves to be the most profound challenge of a lifetime. We must face the noise, not the noise of traffic, of sleepless cities, or of ever-present screens. No, that noise is merely a surface-level distraction. The noise I speak of is deeper, more persistent, and infinitely more disruptive. It is the deafening noise of the modern soul, a sonic storm that rises not from the world outside, but from the landscape within your own mind. Perhaps you know it well. It is the uninvited companion in every quiet moment. The moment you lie down to sleep, it begins its broadcast. As you drive down a quiet road, it screams for attention. Even in meditation, as you seek a sanctuary of peace, it is there, more subtle and cunning than ever. Imagine your mind is a sealed room, and in that room, there is not one, but dozens of old radios, all tuned to different frequencies, all blaring at full volume. There are no off switches. You are sitting in the center of that room, helpless. This is the state of existence for most of us. The first, and perhaps most familiar of these, is the broadcaster of the past. This station relentlessly replays its old news bulletins. It is the voice of regret, endlessly repeating the mistakes you made, the words you wish you hadn't said, the opportunities you missed. It loops the footage of your hurts, your embarrassments, the times you felt abandoned or ashamed. This voice holds you prisoner in a time that no longer exists. It convinces you that who you are today is defined entirely by who you were yesterday. Your energy, instead of being used to inhabit the present, is squandered on attempts to mentally re-edit a past that cannot be changed, or to pick at wounds that are never allowed to heal. This noise whispers in your ear, "Remember that time, how foolish you were, you should have known better." It is a heavy anchor you drag with every step, preventing you from ever feeling the lightness of the now. Next to it, broadcasting with equal intensity, is the architect of the future. This station has no interest in what has been. Instead, it is pathologically obsessed with what is to come. It is the voice of anxiety. It constantly drafts blueprints for disaster, planning for every conceivable contingency. It builds bridges to rivers that do not yet exist. It spends hours rehearsing conversations that may never happen, preparing for calamities that exist only in its imagination. This voice convinces you that if you just worry enough, if you strategize hard enough, you can control the future. But this is a lie. All it does is drain the life from the present moment, the only place where you have any real power. It turns life into a checklist of potential threats and tasks to be completed. It makes you forget how to breathe because you are too busy holding your breath for the next bad thing to happen. It whispers, "But what if this goes wrong? Have you prepared for the worst-case scenario?" It keeps you in a state of permanent vigilance, your nervous system pulled taut like a bowstring, never allowed to relax. But perhaps the most piercing and poisonous of all is the station of the judge and the inner critic. This is the voice of ceaseless judgment. It judges you. It judges your appearance, your decisions, your feelings. Nothing you do is ever good enough for the critic. If you succeed, it tells you it was just luck, and that you will surely be exposed as a fraud soon enough. If you fail, it says, "See, I told you so. You were never cut to make it." This voice doesn't stop with you. It judges everyone around you. It compares you to them, always finding a way to make you feel inferior. It creates a binary world of good and bad, right and wrong, success and failure. To live under the rule of this critic is utterly exhausting. It is the source of low self-worth, of imposter syndrome, of a paralyzing perfectionism. You dare not try new things for fear of giving the critic more ammunition. You dare not be authentic for fear your true self is not perfect enough for its approval. It is a cruel warden in the prison of your own mind. Finally, there is a more subtle broadcast, the station of public opinion. This station is not your own voice, but a composite of all the external voices you have internalized over a lifetime. It is the voice of your parents, your teachers, your culture, and society at large. It is the constant narrator of shoulds and should nots. You should have a stable career. You should be more successful. You should not show weakness. You should want more. This station operates on our deepest human fear, the fear of being judged, of being cast out of the tribe. And so, you wear masks. You play roles you believe others want to see. You bury your true desires, your unrealistic passions, because they do not fit the script written by the station of public opinion. Slowly, you lose the ability to distinguish between your own true voice and the echo of others. These 4 stations, and many other substations, broadcast together to create a symphony of chaos. They create a thick fog in your awareness. You live your days, but you are not truly living. You are reacting to the radio programs in your head, not to the reality unfolding before you. The burnout you feel is not just physical exhaustion. It is soul exhaustion, the weariness of a spirit that has had to scream for years just to hear itself over the chorus of fear and judgment. You seek silence externally, you travel to remote places, but you take the entire radio room with you. There is no escape. So what is to be done? Do we try to smash the radios? That would be a futile war, for they are made of your own energy. To fight them is to make them stronger. The first step, the only step possible right now, is not to fight. It is to listen, but not to listen to their content. It is to listen as an observer. Take one step back, inside your own mind. Instead of being swept up in the story of regret, simply notice, the broadcaster of the past is on. Instead of being drowned by worry, just acknowledge, that is the sound of the architect of the future. When the voice of the critic rises, perhaps you can even greet it with a wry, internal smile. Good morning, Judge. This is a radical act of mindfulness. You are not the radios. You are the space in which the radios are broadcasting. You are the awareness that is conscious of the noise. Right now, try it. Do not attempt to silence anything, simply listen. Identify which stations are playing the loudest in your mind at this moment. Do not judge them. Do not try to change them. Simply acknowledge their presence. This is the first step out of the noisy room, not by breaking down the door, but by realizing you were never truly locked inside. You are the one who has the power to change the dynamic, not by turning a knob, but by shifting your attention away from the broadcast and toward the silent awareness that hears it all. We must first acknowledge the noise we have grown accustomed to. We must identify the source of the static that has interfered with our lives before we can begin to tune into a different frequency, a quieter and more authentic one. Having acknowledged the storm, the deafening noise of the internal radios, the first instinct is to seek its opposite. You begin a search for quiet. You imagine a place of perfect, absolute emptiness, a vacuum where no thought can survive, a black hole for the anxieties and regrets that plague you. This is the great spiritual misunderstanding. It is the reason so many abandon meditation, why so many find the path of introspection to be frustrating and fruitless. You are searching for a phantom. You are chasing an illusion. For the silence you seek is not emptiness. It is, in its truest form, the highest state of presence. We have been conditioned to equate silence with absence. The end of a conversation leaves a void. An empty house feels silent. We speak of a deafening silence to describe a lack of sound that is so profound it becomes uncomfortable. This is the ego's interpretation. The ego, the narrator of the storm, cannot comprehend a state where it is not the center of attention. To the ego, silence is death. But for the soul, for the deeper consciousness that you are, silence is life itself. It is the very ground of being. Imagine a canvas, stretched taut and white in an artist's studio. To the untrained eye, it is empty. It is a space of nothing. It lacks color, form, and story. One might even call it boring, a representation of a void. This is how the restless mind first perceives true silence. When the internal chatter subsides for even a moment, a sense of panic can arise. An uncomfortable void seems to open up, and the mind rushes to fill it with any thought, any distraction, any noise, just to feel that it still exists. But look closer at the canvas. Is it truly empty, or is it brimming with infinite potential? Within its stillness lies the possibility of every masterpiece ever painted, and every masterpiece yet to be conceived. It holds the fierce red of a sunset, the deep blue of the ocean, the gentle green of a new leaf. The canvas is not empty, it is pregnant with all of creation. It is the unified field from which all things emerge. The canvas does not lack anything. It is the silent host to everything. This is the nature of true silence. It is not an absence of thought, but the space in which all thoughts arise and dissolve. It is the awareness that perceives the noise. When you cultivate silence, you are not creating a void. You are becoming the canvas. For years, you have identified with the paint, with the chaotic splashes of fear, the dark strokes of anger, the frantic lines of anxiety. You have believed yourself to be the painting, a messy, finite, and often troubled creation. The spiritual journey is the process of realizing you are not the paint. You are not the story. You are the canvas itself, the pure, unstained, silent awareness that was there before the first stroke of paint and will be there after the last one has faded. This realization is terrifying to the ego. The ego is the sum total of the paint strokes. It is the story, the personality, the collection of memories and beliefs. To become the canvas is, from the ego's perspective, to be wiped clean, to become nothing, and so it fights. It generates more noise, more drama, more problems, all in an attempt to keep your attention focused on the painting, to stop you from realizing your true nature as the vast, peaceful canvas. So how do we begin? We stop trying to empty the mind. That is a futile battle. It is like trying to flatten the ocean. Instead, we practice being present in the mind. We shift our goal from achieving emptiness to cultivating presence. And what is presence? It is the simple, non-judgmental awareness of this exact moment, exactly as it is. It is hearing the sound of a distant siren, not as an annoyance or a story about an emergency, but as pure sound, a vibration in the air. It is feeling the gentle pressure of your body on the chair, the texture of the fabric against your skin, without needing to label it or think about it. It is noticing a thought of worry arise in your mind, and instead of grabbing onto it and following its dramatic storyline, you simply watch it. You observe it as you would observe a cloud floating across the sky. You note its shape, its color, its texture, and you let it drift by without resistance. You do not push it away. You do not cling to it. You simply allow it to be, and in that allowing, it loses its power over you. You realize it is just a bit of paint, and you are the vast sky. This is the practice. Moment by moment, you withdraw your identification from the noise and rest in the awareness of the noise. This awareness is silent. It does not have an opinion. It does not judge the thought as good or bad. It is simply a witness, a still, compassionate observer. And in the space created by this witnessing, something magical happens. The noise begins to lose its charge. The radios in the room do not necessarily turn off, but their volume begins to decrease. Their frantic energy dissipates because the fuel source, your identification with them, has been cut off. You are no longer in the center of the room being battered by the sound. You are the room itself. You are the silent space that holds all the sound. This silence is not dead or sterile. It is vibrantly alive. It has a quality, a texture. It is a deep, resonant peace. It is a feeling of being fundamentally okay, regardless of the external circumstances or the internal weather. It is a quiet confidence that comes not from knowing all the answers, but from being comfortable with the questions. It is a fullness, a richness. In this silence, you can finally feel the subtle energy of your own body, the gentle rhythm of your own heart. In this silence, intuition can finally speak, not in words, but in a clear, unmistakable feeling of knowing. The signs from the universe are not shouted into the storm of the mind. They are written in the stillness of the canvas. They can only be perceived when you stop identifying with the paint. Let go of the search for emptiness. It does not exist. Instead, embrace the fullness of this moment. Become a student of presence. Allow the world to be as it is. Allow your mind to be as it is, and rest in the silent, loving awareness that holds it all. This is the doorway. This is the key. You do not need to create silence. You only need to uncover the silence that you already are. And to do that, we need an anchor, a tool to pull us from the turbulent waters of thought into the calm harbor of the now. We have spoken of silence, not as an empty void, but as a state of profound, living presence. This is a beautiful idea, but for a mind accustomed to ceaseless motion, it can feel abstract, unattainable. To ask the thinking mind to be still is like asking a storm to stop raging. The mind's very nature is motion, association, and projection. Fighting the mind with the mind is a battle you will always lose, for you are using the very instrument of distraction to seek focus. It is a frustrating, exhausting paradox. But there is a secret way out. There is a tool you possess, one you carry with you every moment of every day, that is immune to the deceptions of time. A tool that cannot be in the past or in the future, but can only exist, immovably, in the sacred space of the now. That tool is your body. The mind is a time traveler. In a single instant, it can rocket back 20 years to a painful memory or jump forward a decade into an imagined catastrophe. It constructs intricate worlds from what was and what might be, and it convinces you that these worlds are real, demanding your full attention and emotional investment. But the body does not travel time. Your body is always uncompromisingly here. Your feet are on the floor of right now. Your heart is beating in this very moment. Your lungs are breathing the air of this present reality. The body is the physical manifestation of the present moment. It is the one constant in the flux of mental chaos, and in this truth lies its incredible power. It is your anchor. Imagine your consciousness is a ship, and your mind is the turbulent ocean. For most of your life, this ship has been tossed about on the waves of thought and emotion. A wave of regret from the past crashes over the deck, drenching you in sadness. A swell of anxiety about the future lifts you up and slams you down, leaving you disoriented and afraid. You are at the mercy of the weather, a passenger on a vessel without a rudder, lost in a relentless storm. You feel seasick, exhausted, and powerless. This is the state of living entirely in the mind. Now, imagine that ship has a heavy, powerful anchor. The anchor has always been there, but you have forgotten how to use it. That anchor is the feeling of life within your own body. To drop the anchor does not mean the storm will instantly cease. The winds of thought may still howl around you. The waves of emotion may still crash against the hull. But the ship is no longer adrift. It is held fast. It is grounded. It has found its center in the midst of the chaos. From this place of stability, you can now observe the storm without being capsized by it. You can watch the towering waves of anger or fear rise and fall, but they no longer have the power to carry you away. You are anchored in the deep, calm stillness of the seabed, which is your own physical presence. Let us drop the anchor now, not as a concept, but as a direct experience. The first and most accessible point of contact is your breath. Do not try to change it. Do not judge it as shallow or deep. Simply bring your awareness to the physical sensation of breathing. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils. Follow it as it travels down into your lungs. Feel the gentle expansion of your chest and belly. Notice the brief silent pause at the peak of the inhalation. Then, feel the surrender of the exhalation, the release, the letting go. Stay with this for a few cycles. The mind will wander. That is its job. When it does, gently and without criticism, guide your attention back to the simple, physical reality of your breath. Each time you do this, you are lowering the anchor, chain link by chain link, into the stillness of the now. You are telling your nervous system, we are safe, we are here. Now, let the awareness expand. Move from the breath to the inner landscape of the body itself. Can you feel a subtle aliveness, a gentle tingling or vibration in your hands? You do not need to imagine it. Just place your quiet attention there and see what you can perceive. Feel the life energy in your palms, in your fingertips. Now, let that awareness spread to your feet. Can you feel the same subtle current of life within them? This sensation is the feeling of your own energy field. It is the hum of life itself, the current that animates your form. For so long, you have lived in the noisy attic of your head. You have forgotten that there is a vast, vibrant, and living house beneath it. Inhabit your hands, inhabit your feet. Feel that you are more than your thoughts. You are a field of living energy. The anchor is now set more deeply. Let's ground it even further. Become aware of the points of contact between your body and the world around you. Feel the simple, undeniable weight of your body pressing down on the chair or the bed. Feel the texture of the clothing against your skin. Notice the exact sensation of your feet resting upon the floor. These are not thoughts or ideas. They are direct sensory experiences. The thinking mind cannot argue with the feeling of your feet on the floor. It is an irrefutable truth of the present moment. By resting your attention on these simple sensations, you pull all your scattered energy out of the phantom worlds of past and future and consolidate it right here, where your life is actually happening. This is not an escape from reality. It is a profound arrival into reality. The body is wise. It is a sensitive instrument that constantly registers the truth of your experience, long before the mind creates a story about it. A gut feeling is the body's intelligence speaking. A knot in your stomach is a piece of unprocessed emotion. A tension in your shoulders is a physical record of the burdens you are mentally carrying. When you learn to inhabit your body, you learn to listen to its wisdom. It doesn't communicate in complex sentences, but in the unambiguous language of sensation, tension and release, comfort and discomfort, openness and contraction. By anchoring in the body, you are not just finding peace, you are accessing a deeper, more primal form of intelligence. You are learning to trust the signals of your own organism over the often deceitful narratives of the mind. This is not a one-time fix. It is a practice, a new way of living. The invitation is this: throughout your day, whenever you feel yourself lost in the storm, whenever you feel the grip of anxiety or the pull of regret, remember your anchor. Pause for just a moment. Take one conscious breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the aliveness in your hands. That is all it takes. One moment of anchored presence is enough to break the spell of unconscious thought. Each time you do it, you are strengthening the muscle of presence. You are carving a new neural pathway in your brain, a pathway that leads not to panic, but to peace. You are training yourself to live from your grounded center, rather than from the chaotic periphery of your mind. As you rest in this anchored stillness, you may begin to notice something else. You may perceive a subtle hum, a current of life that flows not just within you, but through everything. This is the language of energy, the unseen alphabet of the universe. And now, finally, you are still enough to begin to learn it. Having anchored yourself in the quiet stillness of the body, you begin to perceive a subtle hum, an inner aliveness. At first, it is just a feeling, a gentle vibration in the hands and feet. But if you stay with it, you will realize you have discovered the first letter in the secret alphabet of the universe. You have perceived in its most raw and intimate form the truth of your own being. You are not just bone and flesh, you are energy. This is not a mystical platitude. It is the meeting point of ancient wisdom and the farthest reaches of our modern understanding. The mystics have said for millennia that a single life force, a single spirit, flows through all things. Now, physicists at the quantum level tell us that if you look closely enough at any solid object, at the atoms and the particles that compose them, you will find nothing solid at all. You find only vibrating fields of potential, waves of probability, a constant, energetic dance. The chair you are sitting on, the air you are breathing, the body you inhabit, are all fundamentally composed of the same thing, vibrating energy. They simply appear different to our senses because their energy is vibrating at different frequencies, at different speeds. This understanding changes everything. But its most profound implication is not in how we see the world, but in how we see ourselves, specifically our inner world. For your thoughts and your feelings are not the ethereal, private and powerless events you have imagined them to be. They are not contained within your skull. They are distinct, measurable and powerful energetic events. A thought is a spark of electrochemical energy in the brain. But an emotion, which is the body's response to a thought, is far more potent. The very word, emotion, can be broken down. Motion, or energy in motion. When you feel a wave of anger, joy, or sadness, you are experiencing a powerful surge of chemical and energetic information flooding every single cell of your body. It is a tangible, physical event. This is why you can literally feel the energy in a room when you walk into it. After a bitter argument, the air feels heavy, dense, and thick with tension. In a room full of celebrating friends, the air feels light, vibrant, and expansive. You are not imagining this. You are a sensitive, energetic instrument, and you are perceiving the dominant frequency of the collective energy field in that space. Now, apply this understanding to yourself. You are not just in an energy field, you are an energy field. You are a walking, talking, broadcasting tower of energy, and the signal you are constantly sending out is determined by your dominant emotional state. Imagine yourself as a magnificent musical instrument, a cello perhaps, capable of producing an infinite range of sounds. Your emotions are the music you play. When you feel fear, you are playing a low, dissonant, vibrating hum. It's a constricting frequency that makes the wood of the cello feel cold and tight, that deadens its own resonance. It is the music of contraction. When you feel anger, you play a sharp, jarring, percussive note. It is a chaotic blast of energy that is hot and discordant. When you are steeped in guilt or shame, you produce a heavy, muddy, muted tone that absorbs all light and sound. It is a frequency so dense that no other beautiful music can emerge. But when you feel joy, the instrument comes alive. You play a clear, high, resonant note that seems to make the very air around you sing. It is the music of expansion. When you feel love, a rich, warm chord emanates from you, a harmony that is both powerful and peaceful. And when you experience gratitude, you produce the most beautiful music of all. Gratitude is the master frequency. It is the perfect, harmonious chord that brings every string of your being into resonant alignment. It is the baseline, the home frequency of the soul. For your entire life, you have been playing this music, broadcasting your symphony into the universe. You are doing it right now. The question is, what song are you playing? Is it a dirge of fear and lack, a chaotic crescendo of anger, or is it a hymn of gratitude and love? Here is the secret that builds upon all the others. The universe does not respond to your words. It does not respond to your wishes. It does not hear your pleas of, "I want more money," or "I want to find a partner." The universe is a vast, impersonal field of energy, and it operates on one fundamental law, the law of resonance. Like a tuning fork that will begin to vibrate when another tuning fork of the same frequency is struck nearby, the universe responds only to the music you are playing. It does not judge your song as good or bad. It simply reflects it back to you. It brings you experiences, people, and circumstances that are a perfect resonant match for the frequency you are broadcasting. If you consistently play the music of frustration, the universe will faithfully provide you with more things to be frustrated about. If you play the music of scarcity and not enough, you will find yourself constantly in situations that confirm that belief. This is not a punishment, it is the law of physics. You are an energetic magnet, and you can only attract that which you are, in your vibrational essence. This is why positive thinking alone so often fails. You can stand in front of a mirror and repeat the words, "I am abundant," 1,000 times. But if your body is vibrating with the deep, dissonant hum of fear about paying your bills, the universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your music. It feels the vibration of fear, and it reflects that back to you. The key, then, is not to change your thoughts by force, but to change your music. And you cannot fake the music. You must genuinely feel it. This is where the practice begins. It is not about pretending to be happy when you are not. It is about the subtle art of retuning your instrument, one string at a time. The way to do this is to find something, anything, no matter how small, that you can genuinely appreciate. Not think about appreciating, but feel appreciation for. It might be the warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of your morning coffee, a memory of a loved one's smile. The simple fact that you are breathing. Find one small thing that creates a genuine feeling of warmth, of ease, of gratitude in your body, and hold your attention there just for 17 seconds, just for a minute. In that moment, you have just played one pure, true, harmonious note. That one note begins to vibrate through your entire being. It momentarily silences the music of fear. It starts to retune your entire energetic signature. The practice is to do this as often as you can remember. It is to consciously choose to play the note of gratitude whenever you can, creating moments of resonance with the reality you wish to experience. You are not bypassing your negative feelings. You are introducing a higher, more powerful frequency that, over time, will become your new default state. You are not a victim of a random world. You are the powerful, energetic creator of the world you experience. The world, then, is not something happening to you. It is something responding from you. It is your mirror, faithfully reflecting the beauty or the chaos of the song you are singing. We have arrived at a pivotal understanding. You are a being of energy, constantly broadcasting a symphony of feeling into the universe. And the universe, bound by the law of resonance, faithfully responds to your music. This leads us to a conclusion so profound, so challenging, and so liberating that it will change the very foundation of how you experience your life. It is this: the world you see is not a random collection of people and events happening to you. The world is your mirror. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, every joy you experience is a direct and precise reflection of your own inner state of being. Life is not happening to you, it is responding from you. At first, this idea may be difficult to accept. The mind, the ego, will immediately rebel against it. What? It will scream. Did I create that painful betrayal? Am I responsible for that injustice? Am I to blame for my own suffering? This is a natural reaction, and it comes from a misunderstanding of the principle. The law of reflection is not a law of blame. It is a law of empowerment. It is not about fault. It is about freedom. It does not say you are guilty. It says you are powerful beyond measure. It is the key that unlocks you from the prison of victimhood and places the creative force of the universe back into your own hands. Imagine you are standing in a vast hall of mirrors. Everywhere you look, you see a reflection of yourself. Some mirrors are perfectly clear, and you see a true image. Some are convex, making you look wide and distorted. Some are concave, stretching you into a strange, elongated figure. Some are cracked, showing you a fractured version of yourself. Regardless of the reflection, whether it is beautiful or grotesque, you know one unshakable truth. You are the source of all of them. It would be an act of insanity to walk up to a distorted reflection and get angry at it. It would be absurd to try and wipe a smudge off the mirrored image instead of your own face. You know instinctively that to change any of the reflections, you must change the one thing you have control over: yourself. If you smile, all the reflections, even the distorted ones, will smile back. If you stand up straight, all the reflections will stand up straight. This hall of mirrors is your life. The people in your life are the mirrors. The frustrating coworker who never listens to you is a mirror. The loving partner who supports you is a mirror. The recurring pattern of financial struggle is a mirror. The sudden opportunity that feels like a miracle is a mirror. They are all reflecting different angles of your own consciousness back at you. For years, we have been running around this hall of mirrors, trying to fix the reflections. We try to change our boss, to fix our partner, to control the economy, to argue with the distorted images, all while remaining fundamentally unchanged ourselves. It is an exhausting and fruitless exercise. The spiritual path is the moment you stop running. You stand still in the center of the hall, and for the first time, you turn your attention away from the reflections and back to the source. You. How does this mirror work? It operates through the powerful mechanism of belief and projection. Your deepest beliefs about yourself and the world, most of which are unconscious, act as an energetic filter. If you hold a core belief that you are not worthy of love, You will unconsciously filter your reality to confirm this belief. You may overlook people who show you genuine affection and instead be drawn to those who are emotionally unavailable, thus proving your original belief correct. This is not just psychology. It is the law of resonance in action. Your frequency of unworthiness can only perceive and attract resonant experiences. Furthermore, we project onto the world the parts of ourselves we have disowned. This is the concept of the shadow. The qualities that irritate you most in others are often the very qualities you cannot accept in yourself. The arrogance you despise in a colleague may be a mirror for a hidden arrogance of your own, or, just as likely, its polar oppositea, deep-seated feeling of inferiority. The perceived laziness in someone else might be a reflection of the part of you that desperately craves rest but never allows it, the part you judge as unproductive. The mirror is not always literal. It is often symbolic, showing you what you have pushed into the darkness of your own psyche. The mirror, then, is not a cruel judge. It is the most compassionate teacher you will ever have. Life loves you so much that it will keep presenting you with the same lesson, embodied in different people and different situations, until you finally learn what you need to learn for your own evolution. The difficult person is not your enemy. They are a messenger. They are a guru in disguise, sent with a very specific assignment. To show you where you are not yet free, they are here to press on your unresolved wounds, not to hurt you, but to reveal where you still need to heal. So how do we use this? How do we learn to read the reflections? The practice is to cultivate a new response to being emotionally triggered. When you feel that charge of anger, of frustration, of sadness in response to someone or something, pause. Before you blame the external world, before you point the finger at the mirror, turn your gaze inward and ask the most powerful question you can ask. What is this showing me about me? What belief or feeling inside of me is being activated right now? If you constantly feel overlooked and unheard, the mirror is asking, where in your life are you overlooking yourself? Where are you silencing your own truth and not valuing your own voice? If you find yourself surrounded by chaos and drama, the mirror is asking, what is the source of the chaos within me? What unresolved inner conflict is being projected outward as this drama? If you deeply crave more love and connection, the mirror is asking, in the most loving way, where are you withholding love and connection from yourself? This is the work. It is the path of radical self-responsibility. It is the end of blame and the beginning of true creative power. Every experience becomes your teacher. Every person becomes your guide. The world transforms from a frightening, random battlefield into a living, breathing oracle that is constantly giving you feedback, constantly guiding you back home to yourself. You are no longer a victim, tossed about by the whims of fate. You are an interpreter of symbols, a decoder of sacred messages. And once you understand that everyone and everything is a messenger, the next question naturally arises: how do we decipher what they are trying to tell us? The world is your mirror. Having accepted this profound and challenging truth, we move from the what to the who. If every circumstance is a reflection of our inner state, then every person in our life is a messenger, and every recurring pattern is a lesson plan designed by our own soul. Life ceases to be a series of random encounters and becomes a sacred classroom. The universe is not chaotic. It is an impeccably organized feedback system designed for one purpose: your awakening. It is easy to see the loving friend, the supportive mentor, or the kind stranger as a positive messenger, a reflection of our own light. But the real work, the transformative journey, begins when we have the courage to look at the difficult messengers. The person who triggers you most, the one whose very presence creates a charge of anger or anxiety within you, is not your greatest problem. They are your greatest teacher. They are a guru in a painful disguise, carrying the most urgent and vital message you need to hear. They have been sent by the deeper intelligence of your own life's unfolding to show you the exact location of the chains that still bind you. To resent them is to resent the map that points to buried treasure. To embrace their role, however painful, is to begin the work of true liberation. Let us now learn to decode these messengers, to read the curriculum of our lives, not with the analytical mind which will only judge and assign blame, but with the open heart of a student who is finally ready to learn. We can begin by identifying the archetypes of the messengers who appear most frequently in our lives. They are the recurring characters in the play of our personal reality. First, there is the powerful messenger of the judge or the critic. This is the person who constantly finds fault with you. It is the boss who tells you your work is never good enough, the parent who compares you unfavorably to a sibling, or the partner who critiques the way you do even the smallest things. Their presence makes you feel small, inadequate, and perpetually on trial. The immediate, ego-driven reaction is to defend yourself, to push back, to prove them wrong, or to shrink in shame. But the spiritual student pauses. The student understands this external critic is merely an amplified echo of their own inner critic. The universe has simply given your inner judge a human voice so that you can no longer ignore it. This person's criticism stings so much because a part of you already believes it to be true. Their role is to hold up a merciless mirror to your own self-judgment. The work is not to win their approval, but to stop seeking it. The decoding question they force you to ask is this: where do I judge myself in this exact same way? What impossible standard am I holding myself to that this person is simply vocalizing for me? When you can identify and begin to heal your own inner critic, the external one will either soften their approach or drift out of your life, their assignment complete. Then there is the messenger of the controller or the tyrant. This is the person who needs to manage everything and everyone. They respect no boundaries, micromanage your work or your life, and create a suffocating sense of obligation. They operate from a place of fear, and their need for control makes you feel powerless and resentful. Your instinct is to rebel or to submit, but both are reactions that keep you entangled in the dynamic. This messenger is a master teacher in the art of sovereignty. Their relentless pressure is designed to show you precisely where your own boundaries are weak, porous, or non-existent. They mirror your fear of conflict, your tendency to say yes when you mean no, out of a desire to keep the peace. Their presence in your life is a sacred invitation to build a stronger container for your own energy. They are forcing you to define where you end and they begin. The decoding question is, where in my life do I need to establish a firmer, clearer no? Whose needs and desires am I consistently prioritizing over my own? In what way am I afraid to claim my own space, my own authority, my own life? Learning to hold your center and your boundaries with calm, firm, loving energy is the lesson. Once you learn it, the tyrant no longer has any power over you. They simply become a person with control issues that no longer affect you. A different but equally powerful messenger is the victim or the powerless. This is the person who seems to be in a constant state of helplessness. They complain incessantly, abdicate all responsibility for their circumstances, and seem to attract one misfortune after another. Being around them can feel draining, and it often triggers a deep sense of frustration or a savior complex within you. If you feel frustrated, they are mirroring your own impatience with weakness, which may be a disowned part of yourself that you have judged as unacceptable. Perhaps you pride yourself on being strong and capable, and their helplessness challenges that identity. If you feel the need to rescue them, they are mirroring the part of you that believes your worth comes from being needed, or the part that is seeking to fix another as a way of avoiding your own inner work. Their message is a profound inquiry into your relationship with power and responsibility. Their decoding question is, where in my life am I refusing to take full responsibility? In what area have I convinced myself that I am a victim of circumstance? Or conversely, where do I get my sense of self-worth from fixing others? They are teaching you the delicate balance between compassion and enablement, and the importance of owning your own creative power. Finally, consider the elusive messenger of the ghost, or the unavailable. This is the emotionally distant partner who will not fully commit, the friend who vanishes when you need them most, or the parent who was physically present but emotionally absent. They create a painful ache of longing and a feeling of not being quite chosen. Their presence, or lack thereof, is a direct mirror for your own relationship with intimacy and self-love. They often appear in your life to reflect back a core belief that you are not worthy of being fully seen, or that you will ultimately be abandoned. But their deeper message goes to the root of your connection with yourself. They are mirroring your own unavailability to your own heart. Their absence forces you to confront your own feelings of emptiness and to learn to provide for yourself the love and presence you seek from them. The decoding question is, where am I emotionally unavailable to myself? Do I abandon my own needs and feelings? What part of me believes that love is always conditional and will ultimately disappear? The lesson is to become a secure and loving home for yourself. When you stop abandoning yourself, you cease to attract those who will play out that same pattern for you. Beyond individual messengers, we must learn to decode the recurring patterns, the grand themes of our life's curriculum. These patterns are the soul's syllabus. If you find yourself in a repeating loop, you are in a master class. Consider the pattern of scarcity, or not enough. This is the experience of constantly struggling, whether with money, time, love, or opportunity. You get a raise, and an unexpected bill appears. You find a moment of peace, and a crisis erupts. This is the universe faithfully mirroring a deep internal frequency of lack. The work here is not to work harder or to chase more, but to undertake the radical inner alchemy of cultivating a feeling of abundance before the evidence appears. It is a practice of gratitude for what you do have, of shifting your focus from the gap to the gift. It is about learning to feel worthy and prosperous on the inside, thereby changing the energetic signal you broadcast. Or consider the pattern of betrayal. This is the soul-crushing experience of being repeatedly let down, lied to, or abandoned by those you trust. This pattern almost always points to a foundational wound, a moment in your history where you learned that connection is unsafe. The mirror here is reflecting a belief that you are unworthy of loyalty, but the deeper reflection is one of self-betrayal. The lesson often involves learning to trust your own intuition above the pleasing words of others. It asks you to stop betraying your own gut feelings. The ultimate journey is not about finding a trustworthy person out there, but about becoming an unwavering, trustworthy sanctuary for yourself. When you learn to honor your own truth and never abandon yourself, you graduate from this painful curriculum. Then there is the pattern of the almost. You almost get the promotion. You almost finish the great project. You almost find lasting love. But something always happens at the 11th hour to sabotage it. This is a subtle and frustrating pattern that often reflects a deep-seated, unconscious fear of success, of visibility, of what lies beyond the struggle. The ego often feels safer in the familiar identity of the one who tries than in the unknown territory of the one who has arrived. There may be a hidden belief that you don't deserve it, or that if you truly succeed, you will be judged, envied, or have more to lose. Decoding this pattern requires asking, what am I truly afraid would happen if I succeeded? What part of my identity would I have to let go of? The work is to give yourself permission to fully arrive, to receive, and to be seen in your full light. Decoding these messengers and patterns requires a monumental shift in perspective. The path to integration begins with a radical act, gratitude, Can you, in the quiet of your own heart, thank the person who hurt you most? Not for the pain they caused, but for the message they delivered. Not for the wound, but for revealing where you needed to heal. This act is not for them, it is for you. It is the ultimate act of reclaiming your power. It dissolves the energetic chains of resentment and transforms you from a victim into a conscious creator. It is the final exam of every lesson. The question is no longer, why is this happening to me? That is the question of the victim. The new question, the only question that matters, becomes, what is this trying to teach me? Or, what gift is hidden within this challenge? Life is no longer a battlefield, but a treasure hunt. And to find the treasure, to truly understand the answers to these decoding questions, we cannot rely on the same noisy, analytical mind that created the problem. We must learn to access a deeper faculty, a more subtle and truthful guidance system. We must learn to listen to the quiet whisper that lies beneath the storm of thought. Having learned to see the world as a mirror and life's challenges as messengers, a new question arises. How do we read the messages? The mirror reflects our inner state, but what part of us can translate its silent, symbolic language? The answer does not lie in more thinking, more analysis, or more intellectual effort. The mind that created the tangled knot of your problems cannot be the tool used to undo it. To understand the messages from the soul, you must learn to listen to the voice of the soul. This voice is not loud. It does not argue or present a logical case. It is a quiet, persistent whisper beneath the roar of your everyday thoughts. It is your intuition. We must first understand what intuition is not. Intuition is not a thought. Thought is a product of the brain, a process of stringing together known information, memories, and learned concepts. It is loud, linear, and often repetitive. Intuition is not an emotion. Emotion is a powerful wave that flows through the body, often in reaction to a thought. It can be fiery or cold, joyful or sorrowful, but it is always charged with energy. Intuition is not fear. Fear is a constricting, anxious energy that often masquerades as intuition, whispering warnings of all the things that could go wrong. Fear is focused on a negative future, and intuition is not wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is the voice of desire, the ego's hopeful projection of what it wants to happen. It is filled with attachment and excitement. Intuition is none of these things. It is a different faculty of perception altogether. It is a direct knowing that bypasses the channels of logic and emotion. It arises from a place of deep stillness, from the silent, aware background of your consciousness. The voice of intuition has several distinct qualities. The first is its quietness. It does not shout to be heard over the clamor of your other thoughts. It is a gentle nudge, a subtle pull, a quiet feeling of yes or no. It is so subtle that if you are living in the storm of your mind, you will miss it completely. This is why all the previous work calming the noise, anchoring in the bodies, the essential foundation for an intuitive life. You cannot hear a whisper in a hurricane. Secondly, intuition is always calm. Even if it guides you toward a difficult or challenging action, the guidance itself is imbued with a sense of peace and rightness. Fear-based thoughts create anxiety, a tightness in the chest, a knot in the stomach. An intuitive knowing, even if it brings change, feels like an exhale. It feels like truth. There is a clean, neutral, and expansive quality to it. Thirdly, intuition is simple. The logical mind loves complexity. It creates elaborate pro and con lists, analyzes every possible outcome, and gets lost in endless what-if scenarios. Intuition cuts through all of this. It often delivers a simple, direct knowing without a long list of reasons. The message is simply move toward this or step away from that. It doesn't feel the need to justify itself with data. Imagine your mind is a royal court and you are the monarch. Your logical mind is your chief advisor. He is brilliant, loud, and incredibly persuasive. He paces back and forth, holding charts and spreadsheets. He points to historical data, reminding you of all your past failures. He runs complex risk analysis models, showing you all the things that could go wrong in the future. He speaks with great urgency and authority, and his arguments are always based on the known world, on what is considered safe and predictable. He is the composite voice of all the radio stations we spoke of earlier, the critic, the warrior, the judge. Now, imagine that in the corner of this court, sitting quietly, is a wise, silent sage. The sage has been there all along, but you have been so mesmerized by the chief advisor's frantic presentation that you have never noticed them. The sage watches the advisor's performance with calm detachment. They do not interrupt. They do not compete for your attention. To hear the sage, you must make a conscious choice. You must hold up a hand and say, "Thank you, advisor. I have heard you. I would like a moment of silence." And in that silence, you turn your attention to the sage and ask your question. The sage looks at you, and with no charts, no data, no drama, speaks one simple, profound sentence. And in that moment, you know it is the truth. That is intuition. It is the quiet sage in the court of your mind. So, how do we cultivate this connection? How do we learn to turn down the volume of the advisor and listen to the sage? The first step is non-negotiable. You must create silence. This is the practice. Every day, even for just 5 minutes, you must consciously disengage from the noise and drop the anchor into your body. Feel your breath. Feel your hands and feet. Inhabiting your body is the most effective way to quiet the mind. The second step is to learn to ask and then let go. Formulate a clear, simple question in your mind. What is the next right step for me in this situation? Or, is this decision in alignment with my highest good? Ask it sincerely, directing it to the deep, quiet part of yourself. And this is the most crucial part. You must release it. Do not anxiously search for an answer. That search itself is a form of mental noise. You must trust that the question has been heard and the answer will come. Go for a walk, take a shower, wash the dishes. The answer almost never arrives when you are straining to find it. It arises spontaneously in a moment of relaxation when the mind is unguarded. It will bubble up as a quiet knowing, a sudden insight, a gentle feeling. The third step is to learn the language of your body's yes and no. Your body is a finely tuned, intuitive instrument. Begin to notice how you physically feel when you consider a choice. A true intuitive yes often feels like an opening or expansion in the body. It might be a warmth in your chest, a feeling of lightness, a spontaneous deep breath, a sense of relief and calm. A true intuitive no often feels like a contraction. It might be a subtle tightening in your gut, a feeling of heaviness or dread, a desire to pull back, a sense of things feeling off or discordant. Learning your own unique somatic language for yes and no is like being given a perfect internal compass. To learn to trust this quiet voice, this bodily compass, over the loud, persuasive, and often fearful arguments of the logical mind is a supreme act of courage. It is the ultimate act of self-trust. But why is it so difficult? Why does the chief advisor, the ego, fight so hard against this simple, peaceful guidance? It is because intuition is a direct threat to its role, a challenge to its very existence as the guardian of everything you think you know. We have arrived at the heart of the inner conflict, the source of the resistance you feel when you try to follow the quiet, simple guidance of your soul. We have heard the frantic arguments of the chief advisor in the court of your mind, and we have named him the ego. Now, we must understand his true nature, his purpose, and why he fights so fiercely against the peaceful wisdom of intuition. In many spiritual teachings, the ego is painted as the villain of the story, a shadowy enemy that must be silenced, starved, or even destroyed. This is a profound and unhelpful misunderstanding. To declare war on your ego is to declare war on a part of yourself, a battle that can only lead to more inner conflict and exhaustion. The ego is not your enemy, it is your guardian. It is a deeply ingrained survival mechanism, and its prime directive is not to make you miserable, but to keep you safe. The problem is that its definition of safety is dangerously limited. The ego is the identity you have constructed since you were a child. It is the story of me. It began when you first learned your name, when you first recognized your reflection. It is an intricate tapestry woven from the threads of your memories, your beliefs, your accomplishments, and your failures. It is your personality, your roles as a parent, a child, a professional, an artist. It is the sum total of your personal history. Its function is to create a stable, consistent sense of self, so that you can navigate the complexities of the world. It creates a character for you to play on the stage of life. This character, this ego self, has served an essential purpose. It helped you learn, function, and survive. But it has made a critical error in its logic. It has mistaken the character for the actor. It believes that this constructed story of me is who you truly are. Therefore, from its perspective, any threat to the story, an insult, a failure, a challenge to a core belief is perceived as a direct threat to your very survival. This is why we defend our opinions so fiercely, why criticism can feel so devastating. An attack on our story feels like an attack on our life. Let us return to our metaphor. Imagine your known world, your comfort zone, is a small walled fortress. The walls are built from the solid bricks of your past experiences. Every belief you hold, every lesson you've learned, every scar you carry is a brick in that wall. Inside this fortress is everything familiar. It may not always be happy, but it is predictable. You know the layout, you know the rules. Outside the vast, thick walls of the fortress lies the unknown. It is a limitless landscape of pure potential, containing all the love, joy, and growth you have ever desired. It is the territory where intuition calls you to venture. Patrolling the top of the fortress walls, day and night, is a loyal and hyper-vigilant soldier. This soldier is your ego. He has served you faithfully his entire life. He remembers every time you were hurt. If you were burned by a flame as a child, he now carries a deep fear of fire. If you were rejected after being vulnerable, he now carries a deep fear of intimacy. He is not malicious. He is a traumatized and overprotective guardian whose entire strategy is based on past pain. His job is to keep you inside the fortress, where he believes you will be safe. Now, your true self, the silent, conscious monarch of this kingdom, feels a deep calling from the soul to explore what lies beyond the walls. Your intuition, the quiet sage, whispers of the beauty and freedom that awaits. So you decide to take a step toward the fortress gate. The instant you do, the soldier sounds the alarm. He runs to you, his face filled with panic. He will use his most effective weapons to stop you. First, he will use fear. Don't go out there. You'll fail just like you did before. You'll be rejected. You'll get hurt. If fear doesn't work, he will use doubt. Are you sure this is a good idea? You don't know what's out there. What if you're wrong? It's safer in here. If doubt fails, he will use his most powerful weapon, shame. Who do you think you are to want more? You're not special enough. You don't deserve it. Stay where you belong. He is not doing this to be cruel. He is doing his job. He is using the only tools he has, the tools of the mind, to protect the identity he is sworn to defend. He is trying to love you in the only way he knows how, by keeping you small and safe within the confines of the past. To fight this soldier is to validate his belief that there is a war to be fought. To argue with him is to give him more energy. If you try to violently suppress him, he will only become a more cunning and subversive saboteur. So what is the path? It is not one of battle, but of compassionate leadership. It is the path of befriending the guardian. You, the monarch, the calm center of awareness, must walk to the gate. The soldier begins his frantic speech, but this time, instead of arguing or retreating, you simply pause. You look at him, not with annoyance, but with deep compassion. In your mind, you speak to him. You say, "Thank you. I see you. I know you are trying to protect me, and I honor you for your loyal service. You have done a magnificent job. But I am the king of this land now, and I have decided that it is time for us to grow. It is time to explore what lies beyond these walls. I hear your fear, and I will be wise. But we are going." You do not ask for his permission. You gently assert your authority. You are not killing the soldier, you are reassigning him. Your job, you can continue, is to guard this fortress, and you do it well. So you may stay here, but I am going to step outside for a while. This is the act of disidentification. You are recognizing that you are the monarch, not the soldier. You are the awareness, not the fear-based thought. In this act, you are not rejecting the ego, but integrating it. You are acknowledging its positive intention while lovingly overriding its limited, fear-based directive. You are parenting your own mind. At first, the soldier will panic, but as you step out, take a small, courageous action and return unharmed, he learns. As you do it again and experience not pain but joy, he learns. Over time, the soldier begins to relax his grip. He sees that the world outside is not as dangerous as his memories led him to believe. He learns to trust your leadership. The walls of the fortress do not need to be torn down, but the gates can be left wide open. The fortress ceases to be a prison and becomes what it was always meant to be. A home base, a place of rest you can return to when needed, not a place you are confined to out of fear. This path requires patience and immense self-compassion, but it begins with this fundamental understanding. The ego's entire power structure, its very identity, is built from the bricks of your history. The fortress walls are made of your past. The soldier's only arguments against an unknown future are the painful stories from a known past. Therefore, to truly liberate yourself, to dissolve the power of the guardian's fear, you must address the building materials themselves. You must change your relationship to the stories that created the fortress in the first place. You must learn to release the anchor of the past. We stand at the gates of the fortress, having acknowledged the well-intentioned but fearful soldier of the ego. We understand now that his power, his very substance, is derived from the past. The walls he guards are built from the bricks of your memories, and his only weapons are the painful stories of what has been. To gain true freedom, to step out into the limitless landscape of your potential, you cannot simply ignore the fortress. You must begin the sacred work of dismantling it, brick by painful brick. This is the art of releasing the anchor of the past. The past, as it exists in your mind, is not a living entity. It is a ghost. It is a collection of thoughts, infused with the energy of old emotions. It has absolutely no power over this present moment, which is the only moment you will ever live. It cannot touch you, it cannot harm you, unless you give it power. And we give it power by constantly inviting it into the sacred space of the now. We do this because the ego, the constructed self, is terrified of annihilation. Its entire identity, its story of me, is woven from the past. Without the story of what happened to me, the hurts I endured, the victories I won, the ego feels it will cease to exist. And so it clings to the past, even the painful parts, because a familiar pain can feel safer to the ego than an unknown joy. To release the past is to threaten the ego's very definition of who you are. And that is precisely why it is the most liberating work you can ever do. Imagine the ship of your consciousness sailing on the ocean of life. For years you have felt a tremendous drag, a constant, exhausting resistance. Every gust of wind, every opportunity for smooth sailing feels difficult and arduous. You have to work twice as hard for half the progress. You may have come to believe that this is simply the nature of life. It is a struggle, but the truth is, you have been sailing with a massive anchor dragging along the seabed. This anchor is your unreleased past. It is made of the heavy weight of your grievances, the sharp edges of your regrets, the dense metal of your unforgiven hurts. It catches on every rock of memory, snagging you, holding you back, all while the currents of the present moment try to pull you forward. The first step in this process is simply to acknowledge the anchor, to recognize the drag, to admit that you have been tethered to something that is no longer even there. The act of releasing this anchor is not an act of forgetting. It is not denial. It is not pretending the pain did not happen. To do so would be to dishonor your own experience, an act of spiritual bypassing that creates a fragile and inauthentic peace. The wounds were real. The pain was real. The invitation is not to erase the memory, but to change your relationship to it. The great shift, the key to this entire process, is the realization of this truth. You are not your story. You have a story, but it is not you. You are the silent, conscious space in which the story is held. You are the sky, not the weather. The thunderstorms of painful memories may pass through you. The clouds of sadness may drift by, but they are not you. The sky is not damaged by the storm. It remains vast, open, and untouched, before, during, and after the weather has passed. To identify with the story, with the weather, is to be in a constant state of turmoil. To identify with the sky, with the awareness that witnesses the story, is to find unshakable peace. This shift in identity is the foundation for true forgiveness. Forgiveness has been misunderstood as a moral duty owed to the person who harmed you, as if you are letting them off the hook. This is not the case. Forgiveness is a radical act of self-love. To hold on to resentment and anger is to choose to keep drinking poison, hoping the other person will suffer. But the only one being poisoned is you. You are using your precious, vibrant, present moment energy to endlessly recreate a painful past event inside your own body and mind. Forgiveness is the act of deciding, for yourself, that you will no longer do this. It is the act of cutting the energetic chain that binds you to that person or event. It says, I am no longer willing to allow what you did in the past to destroy my peace in the present. I release you from the prison of my mind, not for your sake, but for mine. This applies, perhaps most importantly, to self-forgiveness. You must forgive yourself for the mistakes you made when you did not know better. You did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. To continue to punish yourself is to keep the anchor firmly lodged. Let us make this practical. When a painful memory arises, as it will, do not push it away. Do not fear it. Instead, practice the art of witnessing. Greet it almost as an old acquaintance. Say to yourself, the memory of that event is arising now. Then, instead of getting lost in the story, immediately drop your anchor into the body. Where do you feel the emotion of this memory? Is it a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, a heat in your face? Do not judge the sensation. Simply breathe into it. Imagine your breath as a warm, healing light surrounding the physical sensation of the emotion. You are not trying to make it go away. You are simply holding it in a compassionate, loving awareness. You are being the sky for the storm. As you do this, you are proving to your nervous system on a profound level that you can experience the echo of this pain without being destroyed by it. You are disidentifying from it, and as you witness it without becoming it, its emotional charge begins to lose its power. The ghost begins to fade in the light of your presence. As you practice this, your relationship with the past transforms. It is no longer a heavy anchor, but something more like footprints on the sand. You can look back at them. You can see the path you have traveled, the detours you took, the places you stumbled. You can learn from them, honor them even. But you are no longer obligated to walk back into those same footprints. You are standing on a fresh stretch of beach, and the tide of the present moment is always rolling in, ready to wash the sand clean, giving you a fresh, unmarked surface on which to place your next step. Every conscious breath you take is this cleansing tide. Every moment you choose presence over memory, you are allowing the beach to be renewed. When you finally cut the rope to that heavy anchor, when you learn to let the tide of the now wash over the footprints of yesterday, a new feeling emerges. It is a feeling of lightness, of spaciousness. The constant drag is gone. You are no longer sailing against a hidden resistance. For the first time, you are free to catch the wind of the present moment and move with grace and ease. And in this new lightness, in this spaciousness, you begin to perceive something you could never see when you were weighed down. You begin to notice a rhythm, a hidden choreography in the events of your life. You see a graceful, intelligent unfolding, a magical alignment that can only be perceived when you are fully present and unburdened. This is the architecture of flow. This is synchronicity. Having released the heavy anchor of the past, a new quality enters your experience. It is a sense of lightness, of spaciousness. The constant, draining resistance is gone, and for the first time, you are free to move with the current of the present moment. And in this new, unburdened state, you begin to perceive something extraordinary. You start to notice a hidden choreography in the seeming randomness of life, a delicate and intelligent pattern weaving through your days. You think of an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and your phone rings with their name. You are wrestling with a difficult question, and you open a book at random to a page that holds the precise answer. You are contemplating a major life change, and you suddenly start seeing a specific number or symbol everywhere you look. These are not mere coincidences. This is the language of an aligned life. This is the architecture of flow. This is synchronicity. Synchronicity is a term coined by the psychologist Carl Jung to describe a meaningful coincidence and a causal connecting principle. It is an event where the inner world of your thoughts and feelings aligns with the outer world of events in a way that is too significant to be mere chance. It is the universe winking at you. It is a quiet confirmation from the underlying intelligence of life that you are seen, you are heard, and you are on the right path. For most of your life, these synchronicities may have been happening all around you, but you were too consumed by the noise of your mind and the weight of your past to notice them. To see the delicate, shimmering threads of synchronicity, your perception must be tuned to a finer frequency. You cannot perceive the magic if you are living in the mundane mind. This is why all the inner work you have done is so essential. It was the necessary preparation. You needed to quiet the mind to hear the whispers. You needed to heal your relationship with the ego to develop trust. You needed to release the past to be present enough to see what is happening right now. Synchronicity thrives in an atmosphere of trust and surrender. When you are desperately trying to force a specific outcome, when your energy is constricted with worry and the need to control, you are essentially creating so much static that the subtle signal of synchronicity cannot get through. It is when you have done your part, when you have set a clear intention, taken the aligned action, and then surrendered the how and the when to a higher wisdom, that the magic begins to unfold. It is in the space of letting go that the universe has room to orchestrate its miracles. You have to be willing to not know the whole path to be shown the next perfect step. Imagine your life as a great river, flowing inexorably toward the ocean of your ultimate destiny. For a long time, you believed you had to fight your way down this river. You rowed frantically against the current. You tried to steer with all your might. You exhausted yourself trying to control the direction of your vessel. This is the life of the ego, a life of striving and struggle. To surrender to the flow is to put down the oars. It is to trust that the river itself has an intelligence, that its current knows the way. At first, this feels like an act of terrifying vulnerability, but as you allow yourself to be carried, you realize the river is not hostile, it is supportive. And synchronicity is how the river communicates with you. Just as you approach a dangerous patch of rocks, a fallen branch appears on the bank, a perfect handhold to guide you to the safe channel. As you begin to feel weary, a gentle eddy pulls you into a quiet, shaded cove where you can rest. A beam of sunlight illuminates the water ahead, revealing its depth and clarity. These are not random occurrences. They are the loving, intelligent guidance of the river, visible only to the one who has stopped fighting it. Or think of your life as a dance with the universe. The ego believes it must be the lead partner. It tries to force the steps, to dictate the rhythm, to push and pull the universe into submission. The result is a clumsy, awkward, and frustrating dance, full of stepped-on toes and jarring movements. The enlightened path is to realize that the universe is the lead dancer. It is infinitely wise and graceful. Your job is not to lead, but to become an exquisitely sensitive partner. Your job is to quiet your mind enough to hear the music, the voice of your intuition, and to trust your partner enough to follow its lead. Synchronicity is that magical moment in the dance when the universe spins you out and you find yourself landing in a perfect pose you never could have planned. It is the unexpected dip, the surprising lift, the seamless transition that feels both spontaneous and divinely orchestrated. It is the breathtaking feeling of two partners moving as one in perfect, resonant harmony. So, how do you cultivate this dance, this flow? How do you invite more synchronicity into your life? The first step is to acknowledge it. When a meaningful coincidence occurs, do not brush it off. Pause, take a breath, feel the gentle thrill of it. Say a quiet, internal thank you. By acknowledging the magic, you are telling the universe, I see you, I am paying attention. This simple act of gratitude strengthens the connection and encourages your cosmic dance partner. You are showing that you appreciate its graceful moves. The second step is to resist the urge to overanalyze. The logical mind, the chief advisor, will immediately want to dissect the event, to explain it away, to reduce the magic to a mundane probability. To do this is to kill the very essence of the experience. Synchronicity is a language of the heart, not the head. Its purpose is not to be understood, but to be felt. Treat it as a secret love note from the divine, a wink meant only for you. Finally, learn to follow the trail. Think of synchronicity as a trail of breadcrumbs being left for you by your higher self, guiding you through the forest of your life. One sign often leads to the next. If the same book title keeps appearing, find that book. If you overhear strangers discussing a place you have been thinking of visiting, take it as a nudge. If an opportunity arrives from a completely unexpected direction, be open to exploring it. This is not about being passive. It is about becoming an active, co-creative participant in the unfolding of your own life. It is about learning to trust the nudges and whispers and having the courage to act on them without needing to know the full 10-step plan. This way of living requires a fundamental shift from the cynical, knowing mind of an adult to the open, receptive heart of a mystic. To see the magic, you must be willing to be enchanted. To perceive the intricate choreography, you must look upon the world not as something you have already figured out, but as a source of infinite mystery and surprise. You must cultivate the beginner's mind. To live in the flow of synchronicity is to live a life of enchantment, to walk a path paved with meaning and magic. But this magic is not imposed upon the world. It is perceived. The universe has been winking and whispering to you all along. But to see and hear it, you must look and listen in a new way. You must be willing to let go of your most cherished possession, the belief that you already know. The greatest obstacle to experiencing the miraculous is the expert mind. It is the mind of the modern adult, a mind that has been trained, conditioned, and rewarded for its ability to label, categorize, analyze, and, ultimately, to dismiss. When you look at a tree, the expert mind does not truly see the tree in front of you. It sees the concept of a tree. In a fraction of a second, it accesses a vast internal database file name, tree. It cross-references it with memories of other trees, with biological facts learned in school, with its utility as shade or lumber. It labels it oak, deciduous, approximately 50 years old, and then, its job complete, it moves on to the next object to be catalogued. The living, breathing, unique, and sacred reality of this specific tree, in this specific moment, is never actually perceived. It is filtered out by the deadening screen of accumulated knowledge. There is a famous Zen story that speaks of this. A learned professor, full of his own knowledge and opinions, comes to visit a wise master to inquire about Zen. The master welcomes him and begins to serve tea. He pours tea into the professor's cup until it is full, and then he keeps pouring. The tea overflows, spilling onto the saucer and the table. The horrified professor shouts, "Stop, the cup is full, no more will go in." The master calmly replies, "Like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup? We are all this, professor. Our minds are cups, filled to the brim with the tea of our past conclusions, our beliefs, our certainties, our second-hand knowledge. We walk through the world with a full cup, and when life, in its infinite freshness, tries to offer us the new tea of this present moment, it simply spills over the side, unnoticed. We taste nothing new. We experience nothing new. We live in a self-imposed prison of the known, and we have forgotten that the door has been open all along. This is the tyranny of the known. The ego feels safe in its database. It has created a predictable, manageable, and thoroughly labeled world. This makes us efficient navigators of a conceptual reality, but it has rendered us blind to the actual, living reality that surrounds us. We spend our lives eating the menu instead of tasting the meal. The antidote to the expert mind is the cultivation of what Zen masters call Shoshin, or the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is not a mind of ignorance. It is a mind of profound wisdom, for it is wise enough to know that it does not know. It is the quality of openness, of eagerness, of humility, and a complete lack of preconceptions. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. To cultivate the beginner's mind is to consciously choose to empty your cup in every moment, so that you may be filled by the wonder of what is truly here. Imagine a small child seeing a snail for the very first time. The child does not have a file for snail. They do not label it gastropod mollusk, slow-moving pest. They are utterly captivated. They lie on the ground, their eyes wide with wonder. They are mesmerized by the patient, deliberate movement. They are fascinated by the glistening trail it leaves behind, a silver road of its own making. They are in awe of the perfect, intricate spiral of its shell. The child is not thinking about the snail. The child is in a state of pure, unified presence with the snail. There is no separation. This is the beginner's mind. It is the natural state of consciousness before it is conditioned by layers upon layers of concepts and judgments. To reclaim this state is not to become childish, but to become childlike. It is to regain the ability to see the world not through the dusty, scratched lens of your memory, but with the pristine clarity of direct perception. How then do we practice this? How do we, with our full and overflowing cups, Begin this process of emptying. It begins with the simple, conscious intention to do so. The first practice is to embrace the phrase, "I don't know." When you find yourself automatically labeling your experience, gently interrupt the process. Look at a flower in your garden. The mind instantly says, "Rose." You gently override it. You look deeper, past the label, and you say to yourself, "I don't really know what this is." You let go of the concept, and you open up to the reality. You see the velvety texture of the petals, the subtle gradient of color, from deep crimson to soft pink, the way a single drop of dew clings to its edge, holding a tiny, upside-down reflection of the world. In that moment of not knowing, the flower is reborn. It is no longer a boring, familiar object. It is a mystery, a miracle of form and color. You have emptied your cup, and the universe has filled it with the beauty of a rose. The second practice is to consciously drop out of your conceptual mind and into your direct sensory experience. Your mind lives in the past and future, but your senses can only exist in the now. They are your portals to the beginner's mind. Take a moment to practice this right now. Engage your sight. Choose a simple object in your vicinity, your own hand perhaps. Look at it as if you are an alien from another planet who has never seen such a thing. Notice the intricate web of lines on your palm, the unique pattern of your knuckles, the subtle variations in skin tone, the way the light catches on your fingernails. You have looked at your hand 1,000,000 times, but have you ever truly seen it? Now, engage your hearing. Close your eyes and simply listen. Do not label the sounds. Don't think, "That's a car, that's a bird, that's the refrigerator." Instead, hear the sounds as pure vibration, as a texture, as a frequency. Hear the symphony of this present moment, a composition that has never been played before and will never be played again. Feel the world through your skin. Feel the exact temperature of the air on your cheeks. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet, the gentle pressure of your clothes. By immersing yourself in the raw data of your senses, you bypass the mind's labeling machine. You are present, you are here. You are in the beginner's mind. A third practice is to break your routines. The ego loves routine. It allows the mind to operate on a comfortable, predictable autopilot. When you are on autopilot, you are not present. You are a ghost in the machine of your own life. So, introduce small, gentle disruptions. Take a different route on your walk. Eat your lunch with your non-dominant hand. Listen to a genre of music that you normally dismiss. These small changes act like a splash of cold water to the sleeping mind. They force you to wake up, to pay attention, to engage with the moment in a fresh way. They remind you that you are the one in charge, not the habitual patterns of the ego. The reward for this practice is nothing less than the rebirth of your world. When you learn to empty your cup, life ceases to be a series of dull, repeating events and becomes an endless stream of fresh, unique, and miraculous moments. The mundane becomes magical. A simple conversation becomes an opportunity for deep connection. A walk around the block becomes a grand adventure of discovery. This state of open, wondrous presence is the fertile ground in which synchronicity blossoms. When your cup is empty, you are a clear channel. You are open and receptive. The winks and nudges from the universe are no longer subtle whispers you might have missed. They become clear, joyful, and undeniable signals. You see the magic because you have become magical. You have remembered how to be enchanted by the gift of your own life. And there is no greater gymnasium for this practice, no more profound or patient teacher of wonder than the one that has been here all along, waiting silently for you to notice. To deepen this practice, we need only turn our attention to the greatest scripture ever written, one whose pages are the mountains and oceans, whose words are the wind and the rain. We must turn to our greatest teacher, nature. We have spoken of emptying the cup of the mind. of cultivating the state of wondrous, open-ended curiosity known as the beginner's mind. But where can we practice this? Where is the gymnasium for the soul, the training ground for wonder? The answer is not in a book, not in a lecture, not in a distant monastery. It has been here all along, waiting with infinite patience for you to turn your attention toward it. The greatest spiritual text ever written is the unspoken scripture of nature. The most profound guru you will ever meet is a simple tree, a flowing river, a silent mountain. Human teachings are filtered through the complex sieve of language, concept, and ego. Nature's teachings are direct, pure, and experiential. It does not tell you about presence, it is presence. It does not preach a sermon on letting go. It shows you the unhesitating grace of autumn. To reconnect with nature is to reconnect with the deepest, most authentic part of yourself, for you are not separate from it. You are a manifestation of its intelligence, a temporary eddy in its eternal flow. This practice is not one of going out, but of remembering you are already home. Let us sit at the feet of these silent masters and learn their wisdom. Consider, first, the wisdom of a tree. Find a tree, any tree, and simply be with it. Notice its twofold miracle. Its roots plunge deep into the dark, unseen earth, gripping the soil, drawing nourishment and stability from what is below. At the same time, its trunk and branches reach tirelessly upward, toward the sun, toward the light, unfurling its leaves to the open sky. The tree is a living sermon on the harmony of opposites. It teaches you to be grounded and to aspire simultaneously. It shows you that to reach great heights, you must have equally deep roots. To be spiritual does not mean to float away into the clouds, but to be so firmly rooted in your own being, in the earth of your body, that you can safely and beautifully reach for the divine. Then observe the tree through the seasons. In the vibrant flush of spring, it is a master of joyful creation, fearlessly bringing forth new life. In the full abundance of summer, it is a master of selfless service, offering shade and shelter to all without discrimination. But its greatest teaching comes in the autumn. The tree does not cling to its leaves, though they have served it all season. It does not hoard them out of fear of the coming winter. With a quiet, trusting grace, it lets them go. It releases what is no longer needed, allowing its beautiful creations to fall away and return to the earth. It understands that this release is necessary for future growth. Then, it stands through the winter, naked, vulnerable, yet utterly dignified in its surrender. It teaches us the profound lesson of letting go. It shows us that there are seasons in our own lives when we must release old beliefs, old identities, old relationships, not because they were bad, but because their season is over. The tree trusts in the unseen promise of spring. It does not worry. It simply waits in a state of deep, dormant trust. Can we trust the winters of our own lives with such grace? Now, let us turn to the wisdom of the river. The river is a master of the art of flow. It does not fight obstacles. It yields and moves around them. It meets a great boulder not with brute force, but with patient, persistent surrender. It caresses the stone, finding the path of least resistance, and continues on its way. Its softness is its strength. Over millennia, this same soft, yielding water can carve canyons out of solid rock. The river teaches that true power is not in rigidity or aggression, but in flexibility, adaptability, and a willingness to yield. It also teaches the lesson of non-attachment. A river is in a constant state of letting go. It never tries to hold on to any part of its journey, not the peaceful meadow, not the exciting rapids. It is always arriving and always departing, content in its continuous movement toward the great ocean. It shows us how to live without clinging, how to pass through the experiences of life, be they pleasant or painful, without trying to possess them or push them away. It is the physical embodiment of a non-attached mind. Let us then consider the wisdom of a mountain. A mountain is a master of profound, unshakable stillness. It sits in silent majesty, witnessing everything, judging nothing. The clouds gather and storms rage upon its slopes. But the mountain is not the storm. The sun beats down upon it, the snows cover it, but the mountain is not the weather. It is the silent, enduring witness. To sit with a mountain is to feel your own internal chatter begin to settle. Its immense presence invites you into your own. It teaches you to find that same quality of stillness within yourself, to become the silent witness to the passing weather of your own thoughts and emotions. From its peak, the world below looks different. The urgent concerns and dramas of the valley seem small and insignificant. A mountain teaches perspective, inviting you to rise above your small egoic concerns and see your life from a vaster, more spacious viewpoint. To read this unspoken scripture, you do not need to travel to a remote wilderness. The same intelligence that sculpted the mountain and grew the ancient forest is present in a single weed pushing its way through a crack in the pavement. That weed is a fierce guru of resilience and the unrelenting urge of life. A potted plant on your windowsill is a teacher of phototropism, the wisdom of always turning toward the light, no matter your circumstances. The practice is simple. Go outside, even for just a few minutes. Find one expression of nature and give it your full, undivided, beginner's mind attention. Sit with a stone. Feel its weight, its coolness, its ancient, patient energy. Hold a single leaf. Trace its veins with your finger. Marvel at its intricate, perfect design. Ask it, not with words, but with your heart, what do you have to teach me? And then be silent and listen with your whole being. The answers will not come in human language. They will come as a feeling, a sense of peace, a sudden insight, a shift in your own energy. This is communion. As you spend time in this way, you will begin to notice that all of these natural masters, the tree, the river, the mountain, the stone air teaching one, unified, underlying principle, they all embody a profound and unwavering trust in the intelligence of life itself. A seed does not worry about how it will become a flower. It simply surrenders to the innate wisdom within it and the nourishment around it. A river does not fret about whether it will find its way to the ocean. It simply flows. The planets do not struggle to stay in their orbits. There is a deep, abiding trust woven into the fabric of existence. Observing this naturally leads us to the ultimate question for our own journey. Can we learn to embody this same trust in our own lives? Can we have the courage to believe that the very same intelligence that guides the stars in their courses and grows the mighty forests is also, at this very moment, guiding us? This is the great leap of faith. This is the courage to trust the unseen. We have walked through the great classroom of nature. We have witnessed the effortless grace of a tree surrendering its leaves, the persistent flow of a river finding its way to the sea, the unshakable presence of a mountain in a storm. In every corner of the natural world, we see a profound and unwavering trust in the intelligence of life. A seed does not struggle to become a tree. It trusts the process. The planets do not worry about their orbits. They trust the law. This observation leads us to the most pivotal and challenging question of our own human journey. Can we do the same? Can we, with our complex lives full of uncertainty, bills to pay, and hearts to mend, cultivate this same radical trust? Can we have the courage to believe that the very same intelligence that orchestrates the cosmos is also, at this moment, orchestrating the beautiful, messy, and perfect unfolding of our own lives? This is the courage to trust the unseen. Let us be clear about what this trust is and what it is not. Spiritual trust is not a passive waiting for a magical solution to fall from the sky. It is not an excuse for inaction or for abdicating responsibility. It is not a blind faith that ignores wisdom and common sense, and it is certainly not a superficial layer of positive thinking that denies the reality of pain or challenge. True trust is an active and courageous state of being. It is a conscious choice to align yourself with a universal intelligence that you may not be able to see, but that you have begun to feel. It is the deep, cellular knowing that you are fundamentally supported, even when your external circumstances seem to prove the contrary. It is the ability to hold a steady inner peace in the face of outer chaos, rooted in the belief that everything is ultimately unfolding for your highest good. The ego mind will call this illogical. It will demand proof. It will call you a fool for believing in something you cannot measure or touch. So, for a moment, let us meet the mind on its own terms and consider the logic of trust. Look at the evidence. The same intelligence you are being asked to trust is, at this very moment, beating your heart, digesting your food, healing your wounds, and breathing through your lungs, all without your conscious command. This same intelligence grew you from a single cell into the marvel of complexity you are today. This same intelligence coordinates the unfathomable dance of trillions of galaxies, the precise tilt of the Earth, the delicate ecology of a rainforest. Now, is it more logical to assume that this infinite, impeccable intelligence is flawlessly managing the entire universe, but is suddenly clumsy, chaotic, and incompetent when it comes to the details of your one precious life? Or is it perhaps more logical to conclude that it is still operating with that same flawless intelligence, but in ways that your small, finite ego mind simply cannot comprehend? To trust is not to abandon logic. It is to embrace a higher logic, one that acknowledges a wisdom far greater than our own. Imagine you are learning to float in water for the first time. Your every instinct screams at you to struggle. You kick your feet, you thrash your arms, you hold your breath in panic, and the more you struggle, the more you sink. The frantic effort to save yourself is precisely what is drowning you. The instructor's advice is always the same, and it always sounds insane to the panicked mind. Stop fighting, relax, let go, trust the water to hold you. Trust, in this moment, is a terrifying act of surrender. You have to let go of control. You have to lie back, release the tension from your body, and allow yourself to be held. And in the moment you finally do, a miracle occurs. You float, you are supported. The struggle was never necessary. The water was ready to hold you all along. This is your life. The ego thrashes and struggles, trying to control every outcome, terrified of sinking. This is the source of our suffering. The universe is whispering, relax, let go, I will hold you. Trust is the act of finally believing it. Or imagine you are walking along a path shrouded in a dense, white fog. You know your destination is somewhere ahead, but you cannot see it. You cannot even see more than a few feet in front of you. The ego panics in this state of not knowing. It wants the full map, the satellite view, the 10-year plan. It wants certainty. But in the fog, there is no certainty. All you have is just enough light to see the ground for your very next step. That is all. Trust is the courage to take that step without needing to see the 100th step. It is the profound faith that as you step into the small circle of light you have been given, the light itself will move with you, revealing the next step, and then the next, and then the next. This is how an intuitive, synchronistic life unfolds. It is not a grand, fully illuminated highway. It is a mysterious, misty path that reveals itself one courageous step at a time. This path requires immense courage because you are choosing to place your faith in this unseen guidance over the loud, convincing, and often terrifying evidence of your 5 senses and the arguments of your mind. It is the courage to stay open-hearted after you have been hurt. It is the courage to believe in your own abundance when your bank account is empty. It is the courage to follow a quiet, intuitive nudge that makes no logical sense to anyone else. To trust the unseen is a revolutionary act. It is a quiet rebellion against a culture that worships certainty and fears the unknown. It is the definitive choice to live from your soul rather than from your conditioned fears. As you stand on the precipice, at the edge of the pool, ready to let go and float, ready to take that first step into the fog, you will feel its pull. It is the cold grip in your stomach, the frantic beating in your chest. It is the voice of the guardian at the fortress gate, screaming every possible reason why you should retreat to safety. This feeling has a name. It is the raw, primal energy that your ego uses as its most powerful weapon. It is fear. But what if this fear is not the absolute stop sign you have always believed it to be? What if it too is just a messenger? What if fear itself is not a cage but a compass? As you stand on the edge of the unknown, ready to take that courageous leap of trust, you will inevitably feel it. It is the cold grip in your stomach, the frantic fluttering in your chest, the primal urge to retreat to the safety of the known. It is the voice of the ego soldier at the fortress gate, screaming of all the dangers that lie ahead. This powerful, visceral sensation is fear. For your entire life, you have been conditioned to interpret this feeling as an absolute stop sign. You have been taught that the presence of fear means you are on the wrong path, that it is a definitive signal of danger, a warning to turn back immediately. Today, we are going to dismantle that ancient belief. We are going to perform a sacred act of alchemy and transform the lead of your fear into the gold of your freedom. For fear is not the cage you have always believed it to be. It is a compass. Let us first honor fear for what it is. It is a brilliant and ancient survival mechanism, hardwired into your nervous system. Its prime directive is to keep you alive. When our ancestors faced a saber-toothed tiger, the flood of adrenaline and cortisol that we call fear was the very thing that gave them the strength to fight or flee. The feeling itself is not wrong. It is a testament to the intelligence of your own biology. The problem is that this ancient warning system, designed for immediate physical threats, has not been updated. In our modern world, it is rarely a tiger that triggers this response. It is the threat of speaking in public, the danger of being vulnerable in a relationship, the peril of leaving a stable job to follow a passion, the menace of being rejected. Your nervous system, however, does not know the difference. It feels the psychological risk and screams tiger with the same life or death intensity. Conditioned by this internal alarm, we build a cage around ourselves, and the bars of the cage are forged from our fears. We choose not to speak our truth, not to love fully, not to pursue our dreams, all to avoid triggering that primal alarm. The great reframe, the shift in consciousness that changes everything, is this. Fear is not an indicator that you should stop. It is an indicator of where you must go. The needle of your spiritual compass does not point north. It points directly at your fears. Why? Because your fear is always a signpost for an unhealed part of you, an undeveloped capacity, or an unintegrated aspect of your soul. Your growth edge is always, without exception, located on the other side of a wall of fear. If you feel no fear, it is a sign that you are operating deep within your comfort zone, within the familiar walls of the fortress. While comfortable, this is a place of stagnation, not growth. The presence of fear, therefore, is not a bad sign. It is a thrilling, vital sign that you are standing at the exact precipice of your own evolution. It is the signal that you are in the right place at the right time to become more than you were a moment ago. In the great myths and legends from across the world, there is a recurring theme. The most precious treasure is always guarded by a terrifying dragon. The dragon is immense. It breathes fire. Its scales are impenetrable, and its roar can paralyze a hero's heart. Most people, upon hearing of the dragon, decide the treasure is not worth the risk. They stay in their safe, familiar villages, never venturing near the dragon's mountain. They believe the message of the story is danger, stay away. But the spiritual seeker, the hero of the story, understands the secret. The dragon is not the point of the story, the treasure is. The dragon is merely the gatekeeper. Its fearsome presence is not a warning to stay away, but a guarantee that a treasure of immense value is being protected. The fear itself is the signpost for the gold. The path to your greatest liberation, to your deepest desires, leads directly through the dragon's lair. The fear you feel when you think of starting your own business is the dragon guarding the treasure of your independence. The fear you feel when you think of expressing your deepest feelings to another is the dragon guarding the treasure of true intimacy. The fear you feel when you think of showing your creative work to the world is the dragon guarding the treasure of your self-expression. So how do you face the dragon? You do not charge it head-on with aggression and force. To fight fear is to give it more energy, to engage it in a battle that only strengthens it. The path is one of conscious, courageous presence. The first step is to acknowledge the dragon. You anchor yourself in your body, and you allow the physical sensations of fear to arise without resistance. You feel the tightness, the rapid heartbeat, the cold sweat. You look at it and you say, I see you, I feel you, I know you are here. You do not run from the feeling, you do not judge it, you simply allow it to be. The second step is to remember that the dragon's power is mostly an illusion. Its roar is far louder than its bite. Its fire is the hot breath of anxious thoughts. Its fearsome size is magnified by your distance from it. The great secret is that the closer you walk toward the dragon with conscious awareness, the smaller it becomes. The practice is to walk toward the roar. This does not mean taking a reckless, giant leap. It means taking one small, manageable, conscious step in the direction that fear is telling you not to go. If your fear is of public speaking, the step is not to book a stadium tour. It is to write down one true sentence you would like to share. Then it is to say that sentence out loud to yourself in the mirror, then to a trusted friend. If your fear is of rejection, the step is not to put yourself in a position of certain humiliation. It is to express one small, honest opinion in a low-stakes conversation. With each small, courageous step, you are walking toward the dragon. And with each step, you prove to your nervous system that you can survive. You are repatterning your ancient conditioning. You are teaching your inner guardian that not all fears signal a tiger. And as you get closer, you realize the dragon was just a projection, a magnificent and terrifying shadow cast by a much smaller reality, a deep-seated belief, a childhood wound, a forgotten trauma. When you finally reach the heart of the fear, you find there is no dragon at all. There is only an empty cave filled with the glittering treasure of your own freedom. By reframing your relationship with fear, you are no longer a prisoner of your past. You are free. You are no longer simply reacting to the map of your life. You are ready to become the map maker. This freedom brings with it a new power and a new responsibility, the power to choose your destination, the power of conscious intention, the power to plant the seeds of the reality you wish to cultivate in the fertile field of this newfound liberation. Having faced the dragon of fear and claimed the treasure of your own freedom, you are no longer a prisoner in the fortress of your past. You are standing now in the open field of infinite potential, ready to step into your power, not just as a witness to your life, but as its conscious co-creator. You have learned to read the map of your past. Now you will learn to draw the map of your future. This is the sacred responsibility that comes with your liberation. This is the power of intention. An intention is not an idle wish. A wish is passive, a hopeful sigh sent out into the void. An intention is not a desperate want. A want often arises from a feeling of lack, reinforcing the very energy of scarcity you wish to escape. An intention is something different entirely. It is a focused, creative command. It is a clear and deliberate decision to direct the flow of your life force toward a specific manifestation. It is the act of aiming the arrow of your consciousness. This is your birthright as a sovereign being. You are not here merely to react to the world. You are here to create with it. To understand how intention works, we must touch upon the nature of reality itself. Modern physics and ancient mysticism are beginning to sing the same song. They tell us that beneath the surface of our solid-seeming world lies a vast, invisible field of pure, vibrating potential. You can call it the quantum field, the divine matrix, the mind of God, or the universal consciousness. The name is unimportant. What matters is its nature. It is an ocean of infinite possibility, holding the potential for every possible reality, waiting for a signal to collapse that wave of potential into a single, tangible experience. What is the signal that commands this field? It is conscious, focused attention. In the strange world of quantum physics, it has been shown that the very act of observing a particle changes its behavior. The observer is not separate from the observed. You are not separate from the world you experience. Your focused attention, which is the essence of your intention, is the creative force that impresses upon this field and calls reality into form. Imagine you are a gardener and your life is your garden. The soil is the quantum field, infinitely fertile, completely neutral, and ready to grow whatever you plant in it. It does not judge. It will grow weeds with the same impersonal efficiency that it will grow roses. You, the conscious awareness, are the gardener. You have the ultimate power to choose which seeds you will plant in the sacred soil of your life. Every thought you think is a seed. An unconscious, repetitive, negative thought is a weed seed. A fleeting, positive thought is a wildflower seed. But a clear, focused, emotionally charged intention is a deliberately chosen, high-quality seed that you plant with purpose and care. For years, many of us have been unconscious gardeners. We have allowed the winds of social conditioning and past trauma to scatter weed seeds of fear, doubt, and unworthiness all over our garden. We then stand in the middle of our overgrown, thorny plot, wondering why no beautiful flowers are growing. The law of the garden is simple. You will reap what you sow. To become a conscious creator is to become a conscious gardener. It is to take responsibility for the seeds you are planting with your attention every single moment. The process of planting the seed of intention is a sacred act. It begins with clarity. You must get clear on what it is you truly wish to create. This is not about the ego's desire for a bigger car or more status. This is about listening to the quiet whispers of your soul. What experience does your soul long for? Is it peace? Is it creative expression? Is it deep connection? Is it vibrant health? The first step is to distill your desire down to its pure essence. Then, once you are clear, the planting of the seed is not done through effort or struggle. It is done through the power of your imagination and your feeling state. You plant the seed by going to the end. You imagine, with all the sensory detail you can muster, that your intention is already a fulfilled reality. You do not visualize the long, arduous process of getting there. You feel the feeling of being there now. This is the great secret. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. By generating the feeling of your wish fulfilled within your own body, you are changing your energetic frequency. You are becoming a vibrational match to the reality you desire. You are sending out a powerful, coherent signal into the quantum field, and the field, by law, must begin to rearrange itself to match your new broadcast. Let us explore the art of crafting a powerful intention. First, as we said, seek clarity and focus on the essence. Instead of a rigid intention like, I intend to get that promotion at that specific company on this specific date, which leaves no room for universal magic, try a more expansive, feeling-based intention. I intend to joyfully use my unique gifts in a creative and fulfilling role that supports my growth and my abundant well-being. This allows the universe to surprise you with an opportunity even better than the one your limited mind could conceive of. Second, always frame your intentions in the positive. The field does not process negatives well. If you say, "I don't want to be sick anymore," the energetic focus is still on sick. Reframe it. "I intend to experience vibrant health and boundless energy." Feel the difference. One is pushing away, the other is calling in. Third, feel it in the present tense. An intention is a decision already made. Use language that reflects this. "I am in the process of welcoming," or "I am now embodying the reality of." This aligns you with the creative power of the now. Finally, and most importantly, you must charge your intention with the fuel of emotion. Thought is the blueprint. Emotion is the electricity that builds the house. After you have stated your clear intention, sit with it. Meditate on it. What would it feel like if it were true right now? Would you feel relief, joy, peace, gratitude, freedom? Generate that feeling in your body. Let it fill every cell. Bathe in it. This feeling is the prayer that is always answered. It is the signal that resonates most powerfully with the field of potential. This is how you plant the seed. You choose it with clarity, you define it with your imagination, and you water it with the pure energy of your elevated emotions. A wise gardener knows their role. They prepare the soil by doing their own inner work. They choose the seed with care and clarity. They plant it in the ground with focused, loving attention. They water it with feeling. And then, their most active work is done. What does the wise gardener do next? Do they dig up the seed every hour to see if it is sprouting? Do they stand over the spot and yell at it, demanding that it grow faster? Do they anxiously flood it with water, trying to force it into being? Number A. Wise gardener knows that after the seed is planted, another, greater power takes over. The gardener's new job is one of patience, of trust, of tending to the conditions, and of knowing when to get out of the way. After planting the seed of intention, you must now learn the profound and delicate art of allowing. You have stepped into your power as the conscious gardener of your life. You have learned to choose your seeds with clarity and to plant them in the fertile soil of the quantum field with the power of your focused, heartfelt intention. The blueprint has been sent, the creative process has begun, and now you arrive at the most subtle, the most challenging, and the most transformative phase of the entire journey. You arrive at the sacred art of allowing. This is the point where most spiritual seekers stumble. It is where the ego, the inner control freak, stages its most powerful rebellion. Having planted the seed, the ego's immediate reaction is one of profound anxiety. It rushes into the garden and begins to shout questions at the silent earth. Is it working? Did I do it right? When will it sprout? I need to see progress now. This is the folly of the anxious gardener. In their desperate need for certainty, they begin to interfere with the natural, intelligent process of growth. They dig up the seed every day to see if roots are forming, killing it with their very impatience. They flood the soil with the water of their desperate, needy energy, drowning the delicate potential within. They try to pry the sprout from the earth, believing their effort will make it grow faster, when in fact it only destroys it. This is the central paradox of creation. The moment you desperately need something to happen, you are broadcasting the energetic frequency of its absence. Your neediness, your attachment to a specific outcome on a specific timeline, becomes a powerful counter-intention that constricts the flow of universal energy, effectively blocking the very thing you desire. The universe responds to your vibration, not your words. The vibration of "I need this to feel whole" is a declaration of lack. The vibration of "I trust that what is for my highest good is on its way" is a declaration of faith and wholeness. The art of allowing is the conscious practice of shifting from the former to the latter. It is the deliberate release of the anxious gardener and the embodiment of the wise one. Let us use a different metaphor. Imagine the universe is a grand five-star restaurant, and its intelligence is the master chef. When you set your intention, you are placing your order from an infinite menu. You have decided what you would like to experience. Perhaps it is an entree of deep, fulfilling love, with a side of creative expression. You place your order with the waiter, the universal field, clearly and sincerely. Now, what do you do in a fine restaurant after you have placed your order? Do you run into the kitchen and start telling the master chef how to do his job? Do you grab a knife and insist on chopping the vegetables yourself? Do you lecture him on the precise temperature of the oven? Of course not. To do so would be absurd, insulting, and would guarantee a terrible meal. No, you do what is natural. You trust the chef. You lean back in your chair. You enjoy the ambience. You sip your water. You converse with your companions. You exist in a state of relaxed, trustful expectation, knowing that a master is at work on your behalf and that your meal will arrive at the perfect moment, prepared with a skill far greater than your own. This is the state of allowing. It is an active, elegant state of trust. It is not apathy. Apathy is giving up on your order, deciding you don't care if it ever arrives. Allowing is knowing, with a quiet, unshakable confidence that your order has been received and is being prepared with loving care. Your only job now is to enjoy the ambiance of your own life while you wait. But this is where the ego, our inner control freak, storms the kitchen. Its core belief is, if I don't manage this, it will all go wrong. It becomes pathologically obsessed with the how. It tries to map out every single step from the kitchen to your table. It thinks the delivery must come on a certain cart, carried by a certain waiter, at a certain time. When the universe, in its infinite wisdom, devises a more creative, efficient, or beautiful routier, scenic route to your desire, the ego panics. It sees this deviation from its rigid plan as failure. It tries to force events back onto its preconceived path, and in doing so, it often misses the very shortcut or miracle the universe was trying to provide. Your obsession with controlling the how is the single greatest obstacle to receiving what you have asked for. Your job is the what. The universe's job is the how. To allow is to honor this divine division of labor. Another great obstacle is impatience. The ego operates on a limited, linear human timeline. It wants everything yesterday. The universe operates on a divine timeline, a dimension where everything is interconnected and happens in the perfect sequence for the growth of all souls involved. Your desire may be linked to the readiness of another person or to a lesson you have yet to learn. Impatience is a form of spiritual arrogance. It is the ego declaring that its timeline is superior to the universe's infinitely intelligent one. It is a declaration of distrust. Sometimes, after planting the seed of your intention, the opposite seems to appear. You set an intention for abundance, and the next day you get an unexpected bill. You set an intention for love, and you have a painful argument with a friend. The ego immediately screams, "See, it's not working. This is a disaster." But the soul understands. This is not failure. It is purification. The universe is lovingly showing you everything that is out of alignment with your new intention so that you can heal and release it. The bill is showing you your hidden fear of lack. The argument is showing you your patterns of communication that block love. The breakdown of the old is a necessary clearing of the ground to make space for the new. To allow is to trust this clearing process even when it feels uncomfortable. So how do we practice this subtle art? The primary practice of allowing is to make your emotional state your number one priority. Your only job, after planting the seed, is to find a way to feel good now, regardless of the external conditions. This doesn't mean ignoring problems, but it means choosing thoughts that feel better. You can use a simple question as your guide. Does this thought feel expansive or constrictive? Does this thought feel like trust, or does it feel like fear? Your work is to gently and consistently choose the thoughts that feel like trust. This maintains your high vibration and keeps the channel open for your good to come to you. From this state, you learn to distinguish between forced action and inspired action. Forced action feels heavy. It is born from a feeling of, I should, I have to, or I need to make this happen. It is the ego trying to take over the kitchen. It is stressful and often leads to burnout. Inspired action feels completely different. It is light, joyful, and often spontaneous. It comes as a sudden, exciting idea while you are on a walk or in the shower. It feels like a nudge, a pull, a clear yes. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like play. The art of allowing is to learn to ignore the heavy shoulds of forced action and to patiently wait for and act upon the light, joyful yes of inspired action. When you find yourself getting anxious, when you feel the urge to run into the kitchen, you can use a simple mantra of surrender. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I have placed my order with clarity and love. I now surrender the how and the when to the divine intelligence of the universe. I trust that what is for my highest good, or something even better, is on its way to me now. Feel the relief in that statement. Feel the... This profound state of trustful surrender is not a passive, empty waiting. It is an active, vibrant stillness. It requires you to cultivate a quality our modern world has all but forgotten, to embody a deep inner knowing that all is well and unfolding in perfect time. This quality, this forgotten virtue, is patience. Having surrendered your intention to the universe, you enter the sacred space of allowing. You have placed your order with the cosmic kitchen, and you now exist in a state of trustful expectation. But this state, this art of allowing, requires a specific quality of being, a virtue so misunderstood and undervalued in our modern world that we have almost forgotten its true power. This virtue is patience. The very word can make the ego squirm. In a culture that worships speed, efficiency, and instant gratification, patience is often seen as a weakness, a form of passive, unproductive waiting. We see it as the frustrating delay at a red light, the tedious time spent in a waiting room, the agonizing gap between our desire and its fulfillment. We endure patience. We do not embrace it. We are about to redefine it. For true spiritual patience is not a passive waiting game. It is an active, dynamic, and profoundly powerful state of consciousness. Let us first distinguish between two very different states: passive patience and active patience. Passive patience is the ego's version. It is a state of resistance to the present moment. It is sitting at the bus stop, constantly checking your watch, sighing with frustration, your entire being focused on the future arrival of the bus. You are enduring the now in order to get to the then. This is a state of low-grade anxiety, a form of suffering. You are not truly being patient, you are just suppressing your impatience poorly. This is not the patience we seek. Active patience, spiritual patience, is something else entirely. It is a state of vibrant stillness. It is the deep, internal knowing that the bus is coming, that it is on its way, and that it will arrive at the perfect moment. And with that knowing, you release the need to watch the road. You turn your face to the sun and feel its warmth. You listen to the song of a nearby bird. You become fully present in the beauty and reality of the moment you are actually in. You are not waiting for your life to begin. You are fully in your life as it is. Active patience is not about enduring the gap between cause and effect. It is about falling in love with the gap. It is a state of profound trust, the emotional signature of true allowing. To understand this more deeply, let us look to the wisdom of the artisan. Imagine a master potter at her wheel. She has taken a lump of simple clay and, with her focused intention and skillful hands, has shaped it into a beautiful, unique vessel. Her active, creative work is done. Now, she places the soft, vulnerable pot into the intense heat of the kiln. This is the crucial stage of transformation, where the malleable clay becomes strong, enduring ceramic. The potter does not anxiously open the kiln door every 5 minutes to see if it is finished. She knows that to do so would be disastrous. To expose the pot to the cool air prematurely would cause it to crack and shatter. She knows the process of transformation requires a specific, unrushable period of time and intense pressure. She trusts the fire. She trusts the timing. She walks away from the kiln and engages in other tasks, holding a quiet, confident, knowing that the alchemy is taking place. This is active patience. In our own lives, the period after we have set an intention is our time in the kiln. The challenges, the delays, the seeming silence are the necessary fire and pressure that are strengthening us, transforming us, making us into a vessel that is capable of holding the very blessings we have asked for. To be impatient is to demand to leave the kiln early, ensuring we will shatter. To practice active patience is to trust the transformative fire. Or consider the wisdom of a baker. A baker lovingly combines the flour, water, salt, and yeast. They knead the dough, infusing it with their energy and intention. This is the active, creative phase. But then comes the most magical and mysterious part of the process. The dough must be left alone. It must be covered and placed in a warm, dark, quiet place. It must be allowed to rise. During this time, from the outside, it looks as though nothing is happening. This is the period of no doing. But on the inside, a silent miracle is taking place. The yeast, the living culture, is at work, transforming the dense dough, creating the airy, light texture of the bread. The baker knows they cannot rush this process. To poke the dough, to move it around, to put it in the oven too soon would be to ruin it completely. The baker trusts the invisible alchemy of the yeast. They practice active patience. Our lives are the same. The time after we have set an intention is when the universe is the yeast. It is the time when the invisible, intelligent forces of life are at work on our behalf, arranging circumstances, aligning opportunities, and preparing the way. To be impatient during this time is to interrupt the sacred rising. Active patience is the quiet, confident, and profound trust in the power of the unseen. How then do we cultivate this powerful state when every fiber of our modern conditioning urges us to hurry, to strive, to control? The antidote to impatience is a radical immersion in the present moment. When you feel the familiar, anxious energy of impatience rising, use it as a trigger to practice presence. Pause, take a single conscious breath, and then ask your soul this question: what is beautiful about this moment, right now, just as it is? The impatient mind will say, nothing. This moment is just an obstacle to the future I want. Gently override that voice. Look for the smallest thing. It may be the feeling of the chair supporting your body. It may be the intricate pattern of light filtering through a window. It may be the simple, miraculous sensation of your own heartbeat. Find one thing in the here and now and flood it with your grateful attention. In doing so, you are unhooking your energy from a future that does not exist and grounding it in the only reality you ever have, this moment. The desperate need for the future begins to dissolve in the quiet satisfaction of the now. Reframe the in-between time. It is not an empty, useless void between your desire and its manifestation. See it for what it truly is, the sacred chrysalis, The caterpillar does not become a butterfly overnight. There is a necessary period of dissolution and reformation within the quiet darkness of the chrysalis. This is a time of profound, internal, and invisible work. Your waiting periods are your chrysalis. They are the times when you are integrating the lessons you have learned. They are the times when your energetic signature is being recalibrated to match your new desire. It is a time of becoming, and becoming cannot be rushed. To practice active patience is to honor your time in the chrysalis, trusting that a magnificent transformation is taking place within. As you learn to embody this active, trust-filled patience, something remarkable begins to happen to your sense of self. Impatience is the signature of the small, separate ego. The ego is identified with its finite lifespan, so it is always in a hurry. It is always aware of the clock ticking. But as you relax into the timeless, spacious quality of patience, you begin to access a different identity. You begin to feel the part of you that is not in a hurry, the part that is not worried about time. You begin to feel the part of you that is eternal. The anxiety of the small, separate me begins to dissolve into the vast, peaceful presence of the true I. You cease to feel like a single, anxious wave, desperately trying to crash upon the shore. You begin to feel the truth of what you have always been, the entire, boundless, and infinitely patient ocean. As you settle into the profound, active patience of your own being, you begin to feel a fundamental shift in your sense of self. The frantic, hurried energy of the small me, with its personal history and its anxious striving, begins to dissolve. In its place, a vast, quiet, and timeless presence emerges. The feeling is one of returning home to a place you never truly left. You are ceasing to identify with the wave and beginning to remember the ocean. This is perhaps the most significant realization on the spiritual path. For your entire life, you have been taught to believe you are a single, separate wave. You were born from the formless waters at a specific moment. You rose up, took on a unique shape and identity, and you have been traveling across the surface of life, experiencing your own unique journey. You have a name, a story, a destiny, and you have a deep, underlying fear that at some point your journey will end and you will crash upon the shore and cease to exist. From the perspective of the wave, this fear is entirely logical. The end of its form appears to be the end of its existence. This is the perspective of the ego, the separate self. It identifies completely with the temporary form, the fleeting story of this one lifetime. But imagine, for a moment, that one day this wave has an awakening. In a moment of perfect stillness between crest and trough, it has a sudden, profound insight. It looks beneath itself and realizes that its very substance, the very water that makes up its form, is the same substance as the entire ocean. It realizes that it is not just in the ocean, it is the ocean, expressing itself for a brief time as a wave. In that instant, everything changes. The wave is still a wave. It still has its unique shape, its direction, its experience. But its core identity has shifted from the temporary form to the eternal substance. Its fear of death vanishes completely. How can it fear crashing on the shore when the shore is simply another part of itself? How can it fear dissolving when it realizes it is dissolving back into its own true, boundless nature? It understands that it has never been separate, not for a single moment. The wave next to it, which it may have seen as a competitor, is now recognized as a brother, a different expression of the very same water. The deepest, stillest, most silent part of the ocean is not some other entity. It is the wave's own source and ultimate reality. This is the awakening that is happening within you now. You are the wave, and you are beginning to realize that you are the ocean. You are not just the person with your specific name, your body, your collection of memories, and your personal dramas. That is your beautiful, unique, temporary form. But it is not the truth of who you are. The truth of you, the undying essence of your being, is the ocean of pure, formless consciousness itself. It is the same consciousness that is looking out through the eyes of every person you meet. It is the same silent awareness that witnesses the rising and falling of galaxies, of civilizations, of your own thoughts and feelings. To realize this is to be liberated from the primary fear that drives all other fears, the fear of annihilation. You, the consciousness, cannot be annihilated. You were never born, and you will never die. You are simply the eternal ocean, dreaming itself into the temporary, beautiful form of a wave. What happens when you begin to live from this oceanic awareness, even while you are still in your wave form? Your entire relationship with life is transformed. The desperate striving to protect and enhance your single, separate wave begins to relax. The need to be the biggest, the fastest, or the most impressive wave loses its obsessive grip. How can you be in competition with other waves when you know, on an essential level, that you are all one and the same substance? The very idea of competition becomes absurd. It is replaced by a sense of kinship, of compassion, of seeing yourself in every other. The feeling of profound loneliness, the existential ache of being a small, separate self in a vast and indifferent universe, simply dissolves. You can never be alone again, for you are intrinsically connected to everything and everyone. You are not a fragment, you are the whole, experiencing itself as a fragment. This does not mean you cease to be a person. You do not become a formless, mystical blob. The awakened wave is still a wave. It still enjoys the feeling of the sun and the wind. It still has its unique journey. In the same way, you still have your unique personality, your passions, your relationships, your work in the world. But you engage with it all in a new way. You engage with it from a place of deep, unshakable peace. Your life as a person becomes a divine play, a beautiful game that the ocean of consciousness is playing with itself. You can participate fully in the drama of your life. You can feel the joy, the sadness, the love, the challenge, but you are no longer lost in the drama. A part of you, the oceanic part, remains the silent, peaceful witness, knowing that it is all a temporary display upon the surface of your own being. This brings a quality of lightness and playfulness to everything you do. The stakes are no longer a matter of life and death for your ego. Your self-worth is no longer tied to the success or failure of your wave. Your worth is absolute, inherent, and unchanging, for it is the worth of the entire ocean. To live in this way is to embody the twofold miracle we saw in the tree. You are fully human, with your roots deep in the earth of your personal life, and you are fully divine, with your branches reaching into the sky of your universal nature. You are the wave and the ocean, the form and the formless, the finite and the infinite, all at once. There is no contradiction. You are the meeting point of both. This is the great homecoming. It is the end of the search, because you have realized that what you were searching for is what you are. You were an oceanic king who had amnesia and dreamt he was a thirsty beggar. The awakening is simply the moment you remember your own royalty. As you rest in this realization, as you feel the truth of your own boundless oceanic nature, a single spontaneous feeling begins to swell up from the depths of your being. It is not pride. For how can the ocean be proud of being the ocean? It simply is. It is not arrogance, for there is no other to be arrogant toward. No, the feeling that arises is one of overwhelming, breathtaking awe. It is a sense of reverence for the sheer, impossible miracle of existence. It is the deep, cellular thankfulness for the whole cosmic play, for the silent stillness of the ocean's depths, and for the beautiful, chaotic dance of the waves on its surface. This feeling, this spontaneous upwelling of profound appreciation for the totality of what is, has a name. It is the highest frequency you can embody. It is the ultimate state of receiving. It is gratitude. From the boundless oceanic realization of who you truly are, a single powerful feeling begins to swell. It rises from the silent depths of your being, a spontaneous and overwhelming response to the sheer, breathtaking miracle of existence. It is a thank you, not for any particular thing, but for everything. It is the deep, cellular recognition of the gift of consciousness itself, the privilege of being a wave experiencing the ocean. This feeling, this ultimate state of grace and alignment, is gratitude. But the gratitude we speak of now is not the simple, polite courtesy you have been taught. It is not a mere transaction. We are about to explore gratitude as the most potent creative force in the universe, the very frequency of receiving, the master key that unlocks the fullness. For most of our lives, we have practiced a conditional, transactional form of gratitude. We treat the universe like a vending machine. We put in our coins of effort and desire, and if the machine dispenses the snack we wanted, we say a brief thank you. If it dispenses the wrong snack, or nothing at all, we feel cheated and resentful. This gratitude is a reaction. It is dependent on getting what our ego wants. It reinforces the illusion of separation, the idea that I am here, and the source of my good is out there, and I must wait for it to be bestowed upon me. This is the gratitude of the wave that has forgotten it is the ocean. Radical gratitude, spiritual gratitude, is the complete opposite. It is the state of being of the wave that remembers. It is an unconditional, unwavering state of appreciation that comes before the evidence. It is a profound thank you for the breath that is currently filling your lungs, for the heart that is faithfully beating in your chest, for the very awareness that is hearing these words right now. It is the gratitude for the lessons, for the challenges, for the contrast that has shaped you. It is the choice to be thankful for the entire, messy, beautiful, divine tapestry of your existence, exactly as it is. Imagine your life is a vast, beautifully furnished room, but the lights are out. You stumble around in the darkness, bumping into things, feeling a sense of lack and confusion, unaware of the treasures that surround you. Transactional gratitude is like someone occasionally flicking a lighter, illuminating one single object for a fleeting moment. Oh, I'm grateful for this one good thing. Radical gratitude is walking over to the wall and flipping the main light switch. The room itself does not change. All the beautiful furniture, the art, the blessings were there all along, but now you can see them. Your perception has been transformed. Gratitude does not change your reality. It changes your ability to perceive the reality that has always been available to you. It tunes your eyes to see the abundance that is your birthright. Let us explore the energetics of this powerful state. As we have learned, you are a being of energy, constantly broadcasting a frequency that shapes your experience. Gratitude is the highest, most coherent, and most magnetic frequency you can possibly embody. Think of the universe as a radio that is capable of broadcasting on all possible frequencies simultaneously. There is a station for fear, a station for lack, a station for struggle. There is also a station for joy, a station for love, and a station for boundless, miraculous abundance. Your emotional state is the tuner on your personal radio. When you are in a state of worry, complaint, or victimhood, you have tuned your dial to the frequency of lack. And so, your life experience faithfully reflects that broadcast. You experience more things to worry about, more things to complain about. The law of resonance is perfect. When you choose to enter a state of gratitude, you are consciously grabbing the dial and tuning it with deliberate intention to the frequency of abundance. When you are tuned to this station, its music is all you can hear. Its reality is the one you experience. This is the true secret of manifestation and the law of attraction. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receiving because it is a powerful declaration to the universe that you have already received. It collapses the time and space between your desire and its fulfillment. when you can feel genuinely grateful for the abundance that is on its way, for the love you are calling in, for the healing that is taking place, you become a vibrational match to it. You are no longer a hungry beggar pleading for scraps. You are a sovereign creator, acknowledging the infinite supply that is already yours in the quantum field. Gratitude closes the loop of creation. You set your intention, the asking, you practice allowing, the surrendering, and you live in gratitude, the receiving. This is the holy trinity of co-creation. How then do we practice this radical gratitude, especially when circumstances are challenging? We begin with the mundane. The path to the sublime is through the simple. The practice is to anchor your gratitude in the undeniable physical reality of this present moment. Right now, feel the steady, miraculous rhythm of your own breath, in and out. Your body is breathing you, a gift given freely over 20,000 times a day. Can you feel a flicker of gratitude for that? Feel the chair or the floor supporting your body. It is holding you unconditionally. Feel the wonder of your own senses, the ability to see color, to hear sound, to taste, to touch. These are not small things, they are staggering miracles we have learned to call normal. Start there. Make a practice every morning upon waking of finding 5 simple things you are grateful for before your feet even touch the floor. I am grateful for this warm bed. I am grateful for the clean water I will drink. I am grateful for the light outside my window. This practice begins to retune your frequency from the very start of your day, setting a new resonant baseline. From the mundane, we move to the most transformative practice of all, gratitude for the challenges. This is the highest form of spiritual alchemy. Can you look back at the most difficult periods of your life, at the people who hurt you, at the failures that broke you, and find a space for gratitude? This is not about condoning harmful behavior or invalidating your own pain. It is about rising to a higher perspective. It is about recognizing that your greatest wounds were the portals to your greatest wisdom. Can you thank the heartbreak that cracked your heart open, allowing a deeper, more compassionate love to enter? Can you thank the failure that stripped away your ego, forcing you to discover a more authentic source of strength? Can you thank the difficult messenger for showing you exactly where you needed to heal, for delivering the lesson your soul was crying out for? To find gratitude for your scars is to recognize them not as marks of damage, but as proof of your resilience and your capacity to heal and grow. This practice transforms your past from a heavy anchor into a source of profound strength and wisdom. A powerful way to cultivate this state is to go on what is called a gratitude rampage. You can do this in a journal or simply in your own mind. You start with one small thing and you let the momentum build. I am so grateful for this cup of tea. I am grateful for its warmth in my hands. I am grateful for the hands that harvested the tea leaves, the people who transported it, the water that gives it life. I am grateful for my ability to taste, for the simple pleasure of this moment. You let one grateful thought link to the next, and the next. You will feel a palpable shift in the energy of your body. It is a physical process. Your heart will literally open. This is you, consciously tuning your radio dial to the frequency of grace. When you learn to live in this state of radical gratitude, you become a resonant chamber for miracles. You are no longer striving, but thriving. You are no longer seeking, but attracting. You have become so aligned with the universal frequency of love and abundance that you cease to see life as a series of problems to be solved, and you experience it as a series of blessings to be acknowledged. And in this state of constant, open communion with the universe, a final transformation takes place. You no longer need to look for signs out there. You no longer need to decode messages from the mirror of the world. The guidance you once sought becomes your very nature. You are so perfectly aligned with the universal flow that you move with it, as it. You cease to be a seeker of signs, a decoder of messages. You become the source of the message itself. You are no longer just reading the sacred scripture of the world. You have become a living chapter within it. You have become the oracle. We have journeyed together through the inner landscapes of the soul. We have quieted the noise of the mind, anchored ourselves in the present moment, and learned to read the reflections of the world. We have faced the dragon of fear, embraced the power of our own intention, and surrendered to the art of allowing. We have arrived at the final destination of this inner pilgrimage, a state of being so natural and yet so profound that it represents the culmination of all our work. Having remembered you are the ocean and bathed in the frequency of radical gratitude, you no longer need to seek signs from the universe. You have become the sign. You are no longer a decoder of messages. You have become the message itself. This is the state of the oracle. The spiritual journey is a paradox. It begins with an intense feeling of seeking. We are seekers of truth, of peace, of enlightenment. We read the books, we attend the workshops, we follow the teachers, all with the deep conviction that there is something out there or in there that we need to find, to attain, to achieve. This seeking is a necessary and beautiful phase of the journey. It is the catalyst that pulls us out of our slumber. But the ultimate realization is that the entire search was based on a false premise. The search implies a separation between a seeker and that which is sought. The state of the oracle is the moment the search ends, not because you have finally found what you were looking for, but because you have realized you are what you were looking for. The spiritual ego, the part of us that takes a subtle pride in being a seeker, dissolves. There is nowhere left to go, nothing left to find. There is only the simple, profound, and joyful act of being. To become the oracle is not to become a fortune teller who predicts the future. Its power is far more profound. It is to live in such deep, moment-to-moment alignment with the universal intelligence that you no longer need to ask, "What should I do?" The right action arises spontaneously, joyfully, and perfectly from your state of being. The question dissolves because you have become the living answer. Think of yourself as a master musician with a perfectly tuned instrument. The entire journey up to this point has been the process of tuning. Quieting the mind was like silencing the distracting noise in the concert hall. Facing your fears was like replacing the frayed old strings. Releasing the past was like polishing the wood, allowing its natural resonance to emerge. Now, the instrument of your being is perfectly in tune. And because it is in tune, the music of the cosmos, the symphony of the divine, can play through you without distortion. You no longer have to try to play the right notes. The music simply flows through you. Your life becomes this beautiful, effortless song. In this state of being, all the lessons we have explored merge into a single, unified experience. You live in the silent presence that is your true nature. So intuition is no longer a faint whisper you must strain to hear. It is your native language, the natural flow of your own thought and action. You are a master of your own energy, so your intentions are no longer desperate pleas born of lack, but effortless, creative commands born of wholeness. The world is no longer a confusing mirror you must struggle to interpret. You see only the one consciousness looking back at you, and you greet it with love and recognition. There are no difficult people, only various expressions of the one self offering you opportunities for love. Trust is no longer a courageous leap you must force yourself to take. It is as natural and unconscious as breathing. You trust the unfolding of your life with the same faith that you trust your heart to beat. Allowing is no longer an art you must practice. It is the very way you move through the world, in a state of graceful surrender to the flow. And gratitude is not an emotion you must cultivate. It is the very atmosphere you breathe, the constant background music of your soul. Let us return one last time to the metaphor of the journey. You began this path as a person lost in a vast and intimidating forest, desperately looking for a map that could guide you to safety. You were a seeker of signs, a follower of trails. Then, with the discovery of your own inner power, you graduated to become the mapmaker. You learned that with your intention, you could choose your destination and begin to draw your own path through the woods. This was an empowering and crucial stage, but the final awakening, the state of the oracle, is the realization that you are not, and never were, the person in the forest. You are the forest itself. You are the silent, living consciousness that contains every tree, every winding path, every hidden spring, every single leaf. You do not need a map, because you are the territory. You know the way through the forest instinctively and intimately, because the forest is you. The wind that whispers through the leaves is your own intuition. The solid earth beneath your feet is your own grounded presence. The sunlight that filters through the canopy is your own infinite intelligence. The separation was an illusion. To live as the oracle is to live a life of profound simplicity. The frantic need to manage, to control, to figure everything out falls away. It is replaced by a quiet, joyful confidence in the perfection of life's unfolding. Your purpose is no longer to acquire more, to achieve more, or to become more. You are already whole and complete. Your new purpose is simply to be a clear and open channel for the divine intelligence to express itself through your unique form. Your life becomes your message. Your presence becomes your offering to the world. You teach not by what you say, but by who you are. Your peace brings peace to others. Your trust inspires trust in others. Your love awakens love in others. You are a walking, talking signpost, pointing everyone you meet back to the truth within themselves. The journey of becoming is complete. The endless, sacred, and joyful journey of being has now begun. There is nowhere left to go, nothing left to find. The search is over. You have arrived. Welcome home. You came here seeking a map to help you navigate the world. You leave now, realizing you are the landscape. You came seeking whispers of guidance from the universe. You leave understanding you are a note in its eternal song. The journey inward is a spiral, one that has led you through the noise of your own mind, past the guardians of your deepest fears, and into the silent, oceanic truth of who you are. The search for signs, for answers, for meaning has ended, for you have found the source from which they all arise. You have found yourself. Be still. Let this be the mantra that settles into the very marrow of your bones. The signs you once sought are not a destination to be reached, but a reality that was always waiting to be perceived. The world has not changed during our time together. You have. And that has changed everything. Your awareness is like the surface of a great, still lake. For so long, it has been agitated by the winds of fear and the storms of a restless mind, and you could see nothing clearly. Now, you have learned to calm the winds. You have allowed the waters to grow still. And in this stillness, you see the perfect, luminous reflection of the moon. The moon, the guidance, the love, the truth. It has been shining in the sky all along. It was never hiding from you. It was simply waiting for your own waters to be calm enough to reflect its light. Do not simply go back to your day now. Carry this stillness with you. Let it be the ground beneath your feet with every step you take. Let it be the quiet space between your thoughts. Let it be the compassionate silence in which you hold every person you meet. This is not the end of a lesson, but the beginning of a life lived from the inside out, a life of quiet knowing, of gentle power, and of unshakable peace. The work is not to remember all of these words, but to remember this feeling, the feeling of home. Listen, not with your ears, but with the vast, open awareness you now know yourself to be. The whispers are no longer whispers. The signs are no longer signs. They are the very pulse of your own heart, beating in rhythm with the heart of the universe. Listen. The signs are everywhere. They are calling you home.